than you think. It's not a tournament. It's what you don't see on TV. The cash is real. The stakes are high. They bet big. They win big. They lose big. High stakes live action poker. Live at the bike. Watch it live on the web or play it if you dare at the Bicycle Casino right here in Los Angeles.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Live at the Bike, brought to you by the Bicycle Casino in Los Angeles, California, the first and only webcast of real action cash game poker. My name is Bart Anson, and I'm here with Shirley Rosario, the poker babe, and it's Tuesday night, and we are going to be doing a form of restricted buy-in, no limit hold'em, $300 minimum, $500 maximum, and it looks like we're going to probably have some familiar faces on the show, as well as some people that follow our thread on 2+2. And I think that Dave Tuckman might be playing out there. I'm not sure.
That's what I hear.
We'll see to it. So without further ado, let's get to the table. And let's move to the action, and let's go around and introduce the table.
Okay, in seat number 1, we have Eric. Seat 2, that's open for now. Seat 3 is Peter Zaghetti. Seat 4 is Garland, who is a 2+2er.
Yeah.
Seat 5 is Richard. Seat 6 should be David.
Ah, there he is.
David Tuckman.
He's playing in the game.
Seat 7 is Ubens. And seat 8 is Stefan. And George is in seat 9.
So it's going
the
to be
lucky shirt.
Interesting here. We got a few tight players. Peter in seat 3. He's got an interesting outfit on. I think he said he bought those beads yesterday. A little bit of, what is that, fatigues over the basketball shirt. And he gives a lot of action in limit hold'em.
I'm actually curious to see how he plays. He's
fairly new to the no-limit game, but he says he has the fever. And he thinks that there's more money now to be made in no-limit, and I think he's going to start to be playing no-limit more and more and more.
Mm-hmm. So I know that he did well in one of the Poker Stars a couple weeks ago.
Really?
And he made the final table, yeah.
Bad luck, I guess.
So the button we're going to start the show off is in seat 4. And that is Garland, who has 2+2er. And it looks like Tuckman is in the blind, so he's going to take the first hand. And he just got to the table. He's got, I guess he only has 350. That's surprising if he just got to the table and didn't buy in for the maximum. Dave Tuckman there. And Dave does have 500. So he's got 200 in purple. Now George is going to open this one up for a raise in seat 9 at 35. He's got pocket jacks. Made it 35 to go. Tuckman got a king raggy mucked in the small blind. And seat 6 has got ace jack of clubs. He's going to call. That's Ubenzi. And here we go. Wow. Ubenzi's picked up a flush draw. There's one overcard. And he's going to bet right into the queen. Let's see how George plays it. He bets half the size of the pot. He bets 35 into a $70 pot. And George is looking at one overcard here.
What happened?
And he's going to raise.
He's going to raise.
He doesn't buy it.
Oh, yeah.
Looks like he's making it maybe 75 more.
75.
75 more. So a $35 bet. A raise to 75 more. He made it 110 straight, which is pretty much probably almost going to put the guy all in, and he's going to move all in. So let's see how much more it is here. Now, George does not have a club in his hand.
Whoa.
But he does have the best hand. It's 60 more here.
60.
So if he thinks maybe the guy's got a flush draw or a 9, I want to say that the pot is about $280, 60 to call. But again, I don't necessarily know if this is an issue of pot odds. So, again, pot's about $290. Actually, the pot's about $350, 60 to call. So $350 in the pot, 60 to call. So what do you do here, Shirley? I mean, is there a 1 in 6 chance that the guy might be making this move with a flush draw?
I mean, obviously, there's a chance. I mean, we see it happening.
And he is going to call. There it is. And he's going to need to dodge a club here, or an ace.
Or an ace.
Yeah, well, Ben just got the overcard there. Turn is a 9. And the river is a 10, and George here with jacks are good. George said he put you on a draw, and that's exactly what he had. Now, obviously, I don't think that George can make that call if these guys are deeper, but this is obviously a restricted buy-in, no-limit game, and that guy started the handoff a little bit short, probably only had a couple hundred, and George made the call. Of course, if you want to follow a live thread that started on the internet, you can go to 2plus2.com, spelled out, click on forums. World Poker Tour and other televised tournaments, the official Live at the Bike thread for December 20th. Like, Christmas is right around the corner. You can also email us at liveatthebike.com. Liveatthebike.com. Now, I want to make an announcement. The planned Bounty online tournament on the Bike's free site that was planned for tonight at 8 p.m. Pacific time is actually not going to go on tonight. It's going to be changed to tomorrow on Wednesday at 5 p.m. Pacific time. So that's going to give some people who haven't had the chance to go to the Bike's website, download the software, and get a promotion buck, which you need to qualify for that free roll tournament. You can do that by winning a sit and go or a multi-table tournament. $200 bounty on Tuckman's head and $100 to the winner. So $300 free roll. This pot is limped around. Four-way action here. And doesn't look like anyone hit anything here. A lot of low cards. And actually, George is in the
I was just thinking it looks like there were 5 players there.
Yep. George is going to bet, but we can't see what he has. He's going to bet 35. I'd imagine he probably has the best hand here, Shirley.
Well, there's not, there
He's
we
got
go.
queen 10. He's got
He does
second
have a pair and a straight draw.
Yeah.
That's actually 20. Let's make it a pot.
And seat 1, Eric.
He called. He said,
Wow.
let's make it a
Ace
pot. That's true. Strange.
He's got a gut shot. He needs a 10.
Or running hearts.
Right. Backdoor hard
Not
draw.
such a great call.
Turn is a 3. That's no help.
Bet 50.
George is going to bet 50 here now. And I don't really know what Eric was planning on doing unless he's going to make a move here
Well,
on
considering
the street.
George's bet now is weaker than his original bet, definitely a raise
Well, he folds.
is an option.
He folds, and the river's a queen. George would have made 3 queens. Seat 7 now is 500 behind. And Shirley, I had a discussion with Yosh Nikano, the host of the High Limit game and the guy that puts together Wednesday's games. And he says that Phil Locke is going to be here tomorrow to play the game. So I know he sent out a couple kind of an email blasts about that. So he should be here tomorrow. Phil Locke.
That should make it fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Seat 8's got pocket jacks here. Stefan looks like in the blind.
35.
He's just going to raise it up here to 35 with ace queen off suit.
Ace 8.
Ace 8, excuse me. And let's see how Stefan's going to play this. Looks like,
It's all in.
wow, looks like Stefan raised, and Peter just shoved it all in here.
He
with
said all
ace 8.
in, yeah.
Quickly. Trying to, he's pretty aggressive. He's got
Yeah, I would say so.
one overcard here. I mean, the only thing here with Pete, well, Stefan's going to make the call. Couldn't quite tell how much Stefan raised
How all
it.
that went in.
And he is safe so far. He needs to dodge an ace here, or Peter could catch a queen. The river's an 8, and Stefan there actually, he's got 3 jacks. He made a set of jacks on the turn, so actually the ace on the river wouldn't have done anything. I'm trying to understand what the move there by Peter was. I mean, Peter raised it up to 35. If Stefan had come back and, say, raised it up, say, made it 90 to go, it looks like Stefan only had, what, maybe
100
maybe 250 there total or 300 total?
Almost 300.
So again, the nature of the restricted game, I mean, I understand what Peter's trying to do in there, but if we're not playing the 5-10 game where the guys are $2,000 or $3,000 deep. Is someone really going to lay down a hand that they re-raise out of the blind with if they only have got about 200 left in the hand, especially pocket jacks? I mean, I guess possible.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if maybe you said, I mean, Peter's fairly new to this game. Maybe he just doesn't understand the restricted part of it.
Well, I
I'm
don't-
actually kind of wondering what he's doing with ace-8 in the first place.
Well, he open raised with ace-8.
In early position.
Yeah. I mean, that's a very, very aggressive move by Peter. And like I said, I mean, if he thinks he can get a guy off of a hand like tens or jacks, I can understand that when you're deeper. But if the guy only has 200 left and he's already committed 1/3 of his stack, who's going to lay down that hand?
Well, a lot of the people in these games won't. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I think you're right as far as saying, people in higher limits might make a
Yeah.
big laydown, but I don't know if players in, the 3 to 5 are capable of making laydowns with jacks.
Well, I understand what you're saying. Sometimes you actually can find some strong players in the 3 to 5. Obviously, it depends on the
Some
table.
of them, yes.
I think it's more to do with the fact that the stack sizes just don't add up. I mean, if those guys were, we've seen people have $2,000 or $3,000 each in this game, and then that might have worked
Right.
if Peter had done that. But we got a raise here by seat 7. Benzie's gonna raise here on the button at $30. He's got King Jack clubs. I don't know what Stefan's thinking about there. He's got Queen Deuce.
What do you think, Eric? Karma?
I thought you were counting them.
Yeah, it looks like he's going to fold, and I'm sure George is not going to call here in the blind. Once again, boy, we really do see a lot of raising big amounts. I mean, this is a 300 to 500 game. The blinds are 5 and 5.
Right, they're only 5 and 5.
The yellow chips are $5 chips. The blue chips are $1 chips. The purple chips are $25 chips. If you see little dark purples, that little peach chip is a 50-cent chip. Stack of yellows there is $100. So we got almost 500 there in that stack, right?
The way it was done.
Button's going to move over here to seat 8, and Peter's going to straddle here out of seat 4.
Live at the bike, little spinner and a bunny.
And
Lucky
you
Bunny
can
has a bit of
check
lucky
out.
bunny.
I hear that there's a new feature on our website. If you go to livethebike.com, you can check out the tab, and it gives you all the stats for every game that we do here. So you click on 300, 500
No, he wasn't.
to get information about the blind size and the color of the chips. Oh, not yet. Not the color of the chips, but the blind size and the games and the limits.
Okay, we have a straddle by Peter, and everyone's limped.
Yep, 4-way
So,
action here.
$40 pot.
Jack 9-7. Looks like seat 8's got a queen jack here on the button. And Eric's got top pair there, too, with a straight
With a
draw
straight
at
draw.
seat 1.
At 35.
He's going to bet right into it. He's going to bet 35, so about the size of the pot. And Stefan is going to call. George folds. So Stefan has position and he has the better hand. He also, and the turn here is an ace. Now let's see what Eric's going to continue to bet here. He's going to bet 50, and that's a pretty weak bet here. 50 into a pot that is $110. Almost maybe sniff that one out as a little bit of a stop bet there. Maybe he was uncomfortable here with the ace. Let's see what Stefan's going to do here. He's going to make the call. He still has the best hand. He's going to need to dodge a 10 here or an 8. And the river's a 3. And this one might go check here. And there it is.
Yes.
Check.
Got a jack.
And Queen Jack is going to take this one down. The kicker's going to play. Of course, Texas Hold'em, best 5 cards in any combination. Stefan's got a pair of jacks there with the ace, queen, 9 kicker.
Throw it over there, man. Don't worry. It's okay. Got me beat. You got me beat. That's what we're hoping for.
Again, you can email us here at liveatthebike.com. Questions, comments, suggestions, always appreciated here. Button's going to move over here to seat 9.
What's depends on how big the pot is. and how big the
Well,
guy
yeah,
is.
4 people are
Don't
all in
ever
it.
say number.
It's a 1900 or
Well, you know,
$2,500 pot, yeah.
I'm always the first person to be critical of tournament players, say people that play
Yes,
tournaments
you
that
are.
are famous for playing tournaments coming on the show. But from what I've heard from cash game players that I respect, Phil Lock is a hell of a cash game, no limit player, and that's where he makes most of his money. He plays over at the other casino at 20, 40, and 50, 100.
Right.
So it'll be
And
very
I know
interesting.
I know that most of his buy-ins for the $10,000 events, he's usually plays down there for the day or two
And a cash
beforehand.
game.
Yeah, beforehand,
Right.
and win his
Right.
entryway into the events.
Well, Eric's got top pair here.
Richard has a flush draw.
Yeah. And Eric, and seat 6 here, we have it as Eric, but it's Dave, I believe, if I'm looking at that correctly, right? He
That's
raised
Mr. Tuckman.
He raised with ace jack, and he's going to bet 100 here with top pair. Richard's got a flush draw in seat 5. Wow, and he's going to check raise all in with the draw here.
Wow.
He's making a huge, huge semi-bluff, and David's going to have to put a read on this guy here. And David is not messing around like he was before. He's playing for ticks now. He's playing for keepers
playing-
now.
yeah,
when
he's
when
playing
on the
right.
show. So he raised it up pre-flop with ace jack. And this guy has check raised all in here. About 365 more, and Dave has him covered. And Dave is committed about, I want to say, maybe 140 or 150 the hand.
Still a tough call with only a jack kicker.
It is a very tough call. And we couldn't exactly know what the amounts were pre-flop. But I want to say that the pot is probably almost $500 or $600, and it's about $350 for Dave to call. And the guy had limped in and Dave raised, so if the guy's the type of player that might limp in with ace queen or ace king, although that usually is gonna tag a guy as pretty passive.
No,
But I don't think Dave is probably gonna get mixed up here with it. I mean, maybe the guy flop 2 pair, could have a set,
Oh, he's making you sweat?
might have aces up. And you're allowed to do this in a cash game. He's showing him
He's
the
trying
hand.
to get a tell on
Yeah.
the guy.
Okay, no coaching.
Move the show along.
And George is giving him a
Know
little
what you're
grief.
gonna do, man.
George is saying, I know what you're going to do.
I'll eat this chip.
Guys, let him play.
Let him take his time, whatever.
Your subconscious mind is powerful.
So again, I mean, he does have the best hand right now.
I call.
And he's
He
going to make the
calls.
call.
He just wants to see George eat a chip.
He's going to make the call.
That was the whole thing. He wanted you to eat the chip.
Want to see the other hand.
Turns a 10. Guy's got more outs now. And the river's a 5. And Dave's going to take it down there.
David wins.
Yep.
Why are you bugging me?
I'm not bugging. I mean, see it if you want.
And there it is.
losing.
It's going to, up his chip stack to probably close to maybe 1,000 now. And we're going to see if he can start to run over this table like he likes to have his style at a passive table, tight passive table here. And again, I mean, this game's a restricted game. I don't necessarily know if I would have made that call. It would depend on the read that I got. And
That was,
obviously,
yeah,
Dave got the
that was
read.
a tough call.
But, getting check raised to 350 is a lot different than getting check raised to 3,000. Obviously,
Right.
This game still is a restricted game, and sometimes top pair is just good, or you get yourself involved. I mean, David already committed $150 to the hand. Like I said, you get yourself
Right.
involved, and the pot's now 600, and it's only 300 to
Where you
call.
almost have to call, yeah.
It's just like, well, could this guy make this move with a flush draw? Could I still have the best hand here?
Right.
It's giving me 2 to 1, so. And obviously he had the right read on him, and he did make the call.
I don't know if it was so much the right read or if George kind of egged him on into that one. David's still trying to convince him to eat the chip.
He's gonna give it to the chef. Chop it up with your steak.
I check 2.
Four players.
Ace 6-5 here on the flop. It got checked around here. The turn's a 6, and Peter's made trip 6s now. And he checked it from up front. And it's got checked around again. And the river here is a 7, and now Peter's going to bet 20.
But nobody still has anything.
No, nobody
Yeah,
has anything.
yeah.
The only thing about this table, though, especially against this lineup, is I guess Peter was trying to check raise there on the turn, but it doesn't seem like there are a lot of super, super aggressive people that are just going to bet to take down the pot. So probably on this table, I'm going to tend to bet my hands for value. What do you think?
Yeah, I think so. I don't think Peter really knows, is familiar with these players here on the table.
Have a good night.
Not like we are, that's for sure.
Yeah, the cards came out.
Button's going to move over here to seat 3.
You can bait on the cash game. You can show your cards and bait on the cash game. Yeah.
You know, obviously you can show your cards in a cash game now, but they don't allow that in tournaments, right? It's against the rules. Is that right?
Tournament, I can show my
Yes,
get a read. My hand is not dead, but I will then get a penalty.
Oh, actually, David just explained that.
Right.
He said that you can show your cards to get a read, but exposing your cards, you'll get a penalty.
You'll get your hand won't be dead.
Right. But in a cash game, you can just do that, obviously, without a penalty.
If it's a huge thing, right? If it's a
So,
huge pot, you go.
and Dave explaining, you know, if it's a huge pot, well, maybe I want to take that 10-minute penalty if I really need to make a read here.
Yeah.
Right?
Especially if it's an all-in situation. If you lose,
Well, Garland has flopped trips here.
Yeah, and he's going to bet right out here.
If there's a third person,
He
There are
bets,
2 spades out there.
he bets 20, and let's see, and Ubenzi's going to call here with King 10.
I think on the final table in the World Series, someone showed their cards.
Button folds here, so again, Garland pretty advanced. He's going to bet right out here with trips.
Poor Garland was getting brutalized in the game earlier with me.
Turns a 9,
He's like,
and he's going to bet 40 here, and I don't really think that Ubenzi's going to go anywhere.
No,
And he
he's
does
not.
make
He
the call.
calls.
And he needs to catch a king here. That is what he's drawing to. And the river here is an 8. And let's see what Garland's going to do. He's going to bet a little. I think this is a little bit of a defensive / value bet here. He bets 40, and he's going to get the call. And the 5
Well, he
there
bet
is
40
good.
on the turn. I think he could up it a little bit more there on the river.
Well, I think that he was
I
trying,
like
he was
65.
trying to maybe feel his way out, because if he gets raised there big on the river, he's got a decision to make there with deuce 5, doesn't he?
I got pocket ace.
Yeah, but I think that a $40 bet also kind of says that. It tells your opponent.
Hey,
You know,
hey,
this is a
I'm
weak
making
bet.
like a
I
little bit of a blocking
I'm
bet here.
possible. You know, I could possibly lay this down.
Can't say I
Right.
got pocket aces and have aces.
some of the tournament rules.
I think a little bit larger of a bet would have been better.
Better there on the end.
Right. I've said people. How about at the end of the tournament, chip leader, you move all in. The chip leader looks. You don't really want to call. You got.
Listen to David there in the background.
Kings, aces. You got. Yeah, I do. Don't call.
Button's going to move over here to seat 4.
Something like that. You can get a penalty.
Really?
Your hand will be
Even
killed.
though he's cutting off like a bunch of hands?
Raise me to 30.
The floor man's not going to.
C1's going to raise it here to 30. He's got ace 8 of clubs.
So you get away with it.
And we're going to see a couple callers here. C3's going to call. Peter with ace 4 of diamonds. And we're heads up here, and if an ace comes out here, Peter is out-kicked. Here we go to the flop. Wow, he flops a diamond draw. Now Eric doesn't have anything. And Eric's going to bet 40 here. And it looks like Peter quickly calls. Here we go to the turn. The turn's a queen. Eric checks. And Peter checks right behind
Wow.
him. And the river here is a 5. And they just give up. And I believe... Is this one going to get chopped up here, Shirley?
No.
No, the 8
No.
is going to play. That river 5 saved him. Ace 8 is going to play. Peter kind of played that hand relatively passively.
For an aggressive player, that's kind of strange. Surprised he didn't put a raise there.
He's waiting for a
He wants to
stake,
see
man.
the only reason he called. Oh, I don't care. But that is the only. I'm honestly gonna call. You think I'm calling because of him? $5 to give you a chip?
Oh, that wasn't the raise.
Yeah, exactly.
Just a little.
I could give.
Button's going to move over here to seat 5.
I can give him $40 and he needed a chip. George is very cheap. Hey, how do you date though?
Again, David Tuckman's playing there in seat 6.
And he did come over to me earlier today and say since I gave him such a hard time last week, he's been on fire. He says he could just feel me on his shoulder saying, play good, play good.
Yep.
You know what happened? To be honest, you want to know what happened? Hob left early.
Hob was
Game left early. It was a really good game.
like 8:30.
And I couldn't believe
We got a raise here to 30.
He was saying it was
And it looks like Peter has called with ace king. He's just going to call. Now Tuckman's got 8-10 offsuit. He's going to make the call. It's pretty deep there. And seat number 7 is going to call with 3-5. So here we go to the flop. About $120 pot. And Dave's got top pair. Let's see how he's going to play this one. And it's actually Stefan had raised with ace king. Peter called him with jack 9. And look at Ubenzi. He's going to come out and bet here with the open-ended straight draw right away. Stefan's just got ace king. The pot's 120. Ubenzi's come out and bet 30
Only
here.
$30.
Shirley. Peter calls. And let's see what
Wow.
Dave's going to do. What is Dave going to do here with 8-10? Does he think he's got the best hand here now? Might he put a check raise in?
I would imagine so. It's a small bet.
I mean, what do you think Peter has over there? Peter Wrigley doesn't have anything right now,
No,
right?
he doesn't.
He's got no draw. He's got overcards. But the pot was
Got a
150.
runner draw.
Pot was 150, and he had 30 to call. And what is Dave going to do here?
So I'm not, you can't get it here at all?
Oh, he's got purple chips there. Those are $25 chips.
It does look like he's going to make a raise.
And there it is.
Raise.
He's going to raise it up.
125 more.
He's going to make it 125 more. So the pot now is about $300, 125 to call. Benzie's going to go out of there, it looks like. Let's see what Peter does.
Peter only has Jack High.
Yep.
Here you go.
Where's the headshot?
But
What?
look at this. Does he think that David's might be on a steal here?
Lolo?
I
What
think he
is
might think
going
that David
on?
might be on a steal here. And Peter goes all in. But again, Shirley, it's only for like 150 more. Oh, maybe it's 200 more.
210, 15.
215 more. So the pot now is about 630, 215 to call.
And David plays with Peter a lot, just like you do. So
It's just a thing where I think Peter might have figured that David was just going with the check raise steal because everyone bets so weak that he has absolutely nothing here. But David actually has top pair. And again, it's about 200 for about a
He makes
$600
the right
pot,
call.
and he calls. Turns a 10.
10
Peter
is
has
10.
a straight draw now, but he doesn't get there, and David fills up. There it is. And David did have top pair.
David didn't need the 10-10, but
Peter
David, I'm
didn't
sure,
show
was
him.
relieved when it came.
Yeah. I think Peter was really playing the fact that David's just doing this because the bet was weak and I called, and he's just trying to put it on a steal. But again, I
Peter
think,
kind of shook his head. I think he was kind of stunned that David made that call.
but it was only, another, I'm saying it was only another,
It's 215 more.
was it 215 more or was it 215 total? I think it was 200, well, it was 215 more. Okay, it was 215
215
more. So, again, the pot was about, like 650, 215 to call.
Nice hand, Dave.
I mean, I don't know what Tuckman put Peter on, but obviously he knows Peter can make that move with nothing. I
Right.
mean, if the Greek poker god's going to come over you over the top with the call, I think you might be able to
You
safely
can lay
throw
down,
that
yeah.
hand away. That's a nice play there by Dave.
Oh, you did?
I did say queen. I'm not joking at all.
Did he ace?
I think I could put him on his ace queen, and they're doing something stupid.
He tried to make
Or
a
an
play,
over.
but it wasn't.
There's no play.
People think that they're trying to figure out what Peter had.
He's got another.
Yeah, he was talking about, ace queen or whatever.
Yeah.
I saw a queen. You don't think he had you?
And I think someone said that he saw 8 queen, but that was not. He had Jack 9. He did
Right.
not have 8 queen.
I'll put it like this. If he saw a queen, the only hand, and he bets 30, the only hand he's going to call 30 with is 7-5. That works.
So David's trying to raise there and say the only hand he's going to call is with 7-5 with the straight draw, but or actually 7-5 would have been a straight, huh?
Yeah.
To 75.
Right.
I saw the queen. That's all I saw.
I saw 8 queens.
Just one.
8 queen I saw.
A queen. That's what
They're all
They
saw
all
eight
think it's
queen.
8 queen.
No, he actually will make a call with Jack 9.
No, but he could have a pocket pair. I saw 8 queens. Huh? I saw 8 queens. You saw 8. So you think you have ace queen or something?
Let us chop this.
Limped around here.
Yes, play because 7-5 got destroyed. I'm not going to put it away. The only hand I can put him on, I don't think
Limped around and into the blinds. They're going to chop it up. And again, I'm trying to hush up when David talks so we can hear
I'm trying to
him.
listen to him because
Yeah.
I thought that he said that he would put him on the 5-7, but that would have given him the straight. And you can't make the call on the flop with only a pair of 8s if you put somebody on a straight. So I don't think that's
Your hand.
either he's talking out his butt or
Well, the flop
we're
was
hearing him wrong.
8-6-3.
8-6-3,
So it wouldn't have been.
8-6-4.
It's a losing hand. I just.
Was it 8-6-4 or 8-6-3?
I think it was 6-4 because the one person had 3-5, right? The open and straight draw? Seat 7?
You're right.
8-6-4.
Right, so 7-5 obviously would have given him a straight.
Would have
David
given him a
wouldn't
straight,
he wouldn't
right,
give him a
so-
call there. I think David put him on nothing.
I thought I was hearing that he was saying he put him on 7-5.
that made it even better. But
Would make no sense.
actually, 110 I felt good about. Yeah.
He asked one of
Yeah, 110.
Yeah.
It's going to get chopped up here again. And the buttons are going to move over here to seat 9. That's George.
He was on tilt. That was 3 bindings.
He didn't. Yeah, he didn't.
That was 3 bindings. That was 1,500.
And these guys will be amazed about what Peter had.
What he
now,
had.
did Peter get up and leave, or does he still
He
have
went-
chips on the table?
He has chips on the table. He went to go get some chips.
Let's go. A couple of calls at
Small blind, right?
I just think that Peter was trying to think deep in levels. Well, David might be just trying to steal here. He's just trying to make a steal, and I'm going to re-steal with nothing. But again, I mean, David figured, hey, that maybe there's enough money in that pot. I know Peter pretty well, and I think I have the best hand here. And obviously, we'll talk to him about, or he'll address it
Can I have water?
later on. But.
Yeah, room temperature.
So Tuck is up. I mean, he's up
Same one. Same way.
good, maybe $700-800 already.
Same way. Room temperature.
We get a $20 raise.
Bring about 4 of them.
Didn't you say you had to go to the bank?
Yeah, but that's...
She didn't order. 20 total?
She didn't order.
$20 raise. And Dave's going to make the call here with King 10 of spades. But he is dominating. Look at this. 3 of the kings are out here. So here we go to the flop.
10-8 offsuit.
And look at this.
10
Dave
high flop.
out flops everybody.
Is that what we're playing now?
He's in first position, so let's see who he's going to play. He's going to check. Stefan is going to bet here. Benzi checked. And he's going to bet 50.
40, you said? Okay, bet 40.
Well, actually 40.
No, I like to play.
So let's see what Tuckman's going to do here.
Well, he said I'm raising or folding.
Looks like he's got the purple chips out here again. And he's going to make it 125 to go.
Got the same hand, huh?
And I don't think that Stefan's going to call here. And if he does call, he's drawing
He's in a lot of
extremely
trouble. He
slim
needs a
because
jack.
Tuckman's got his kicker. Like you said, he would be drawing to 3 jacks. And he's out of there. David's going to take it down there again. And it, like I said, he's got a rack of yellow there, which is 500. He's got a lot of purples. He's got about 50. He's got about $1,000, surely, in a half an hour. He said he was, you know, David.
It looks like more than
Him and
$1,000.
I have been running polar opposite. I've been running really badly.
Have you?
You know, losing 1,800 in about 30 minutes in the 500 game with a tough laydown. And David seems like he's sitting down everywhere he hits. He's been winning. And, you know, it's so frustrating for me because I come in the afternoon and there's 30, 60 game here. It's just so good. And today I lost about $100 in 4 hours, which is basically, in essence, breaking even in the 30 game. But it's just so frustrating for me because I know that if I could just get the right cards in the right situations, that I could just be killing that game.
Right.
It's really frustrating. I mean, there were a couple rivers. There were, you know, 3 rivers. If I was favored, basically, you know, today I would have been up about $1,500. But that's just the nature of limit hold'em. You know? The game is so big. Eric's going to raise here to 35 with pocket 5, so he's going to take it down here.
Anything that wins.
Nobody calls.
You've seen my play many times. I like playing.
So tomorrow night, Phil Locke. Boy, it would be cool if he could bring Antonio with him, too. I saw them two
I don't
play.
think that's going to happen.
They were playing in a cash game here before the Battle of Champions at the bike over the summer there during WPT. And that was interesting to watch those guys.
I had 50% of the deck against him. I don't know what you had.
That confirms it. Dave did have the best hand.
Ace queen. What did I have? I don't know what you had.
Again, we're playing 300 to 500.
Yeah, I have the deck. Ace queen.
No limit hold'em. And the blinds for this game are 5 and 5. Tuckman is up about $1,000 there, our co-commentator in seat 6. When am I going to get to play this game? Oh, God.
Sure, we can work it out. Have David come in here and sit with me.
Okay, go ahead.
We'll have a field day with you, Bart.
It's limped around here. Looks like 4 ways.
Those 10s are so
5 ways. 10, 10, 5. And the Greek poker god playing 10, 5 of diamonds. He's flopped trips.
We're playing it.
And he's going to come out and bet here. And seat 1, Eric is going to call with a flush draw. So George has got trip 10s. Action's back over to Dave here. I believe. I don't really know what he's thinking about.
Yeah, he knows.
He's going to get rid of it. And we're heads up here.
I don't
George
even
with
know
the
if he
trip
knows his
10
turn.
against Eric with the club draw.
I apologize.
And there's the club draw, but look at this. George has made a full house. The 5 of clubs, and George checks the full house. What a great card for George.
Yes.
So, what's this money making?
Eric's got the second nut flush draw, and he's going to bet. And these guys are pretty deep here.
Yeah, you said draw, but he's actually has the flush.
So he's got the second nut flush. He bets 60.
I think he called.
And let's see what George is going to do. He's out of position. So again, I mean, what are you going to do? How are you going to slow play this? You'd imagine you'd check raise, because what are you just going to call and bet in the river? Plus another club might kill all the action. See what George does here. He's just going to call. I want to see how he's going to play this on the river. And here we go to the river. The river's a 4. And look at
that's
that,
a bad
Shirley.
card.
It killed all the action. Like I said, and he's going to bet.
Card.
This is exactly why I would have loved to see George check raise there on the turn. He could have had that guy's entire stack, most
Well,
likely.
I think that he could have had the entire stack as long as it wasn't a 10, 4, or 5 on the river. I think even a club, he still would have got a lot of Eric's chips. I don't mind the slow play there. I mean, there weren't that many cards where, you know, it was going to kill the action.
You don't think that you could have gotten his entire stack, but then if a club comes out,
You
I
can
don't
get
think
the
you-
entire stack if you know that the guy has the flush, but he doesn't know that. Remember, he's sitting there. He can't see the cards. So I
But
like
Shirley,
the check call.
what would he have called, though, with on the flop if it wasn't clubs or maybe another 10?
Haven't seen anyone there.
Now, obviously, you know he doesn't have a 10 now because he's taking so long. I mean, look at the flop.
Right.
What are you going to call with? Ace 4, and then I'm going to fire
You-
into the
a-
turn? I mean, that's just the way I
Fours
looked
over
at it.
pair jacks. I mean, if he had pocket jacks with the jack of clubs, you know, any over pair with the club in their hand.
Right, the pot was limped around pre-flop, and the guy was in middle position. But he's going to make the call here of $115,
It hurt you.
and George is going to take it down there with the full house. So he ends up winning a pot of maybe $300 or $350. But
It's a horrible river for him.
it's a horrible river for him, and I think it exemplifies the fact that if I'm out of position, I don't necessarily like a little bit, slow play there on the turn. I mean, I would have tried to put some more money in there. And of course, that's just me. That's my style. Everybody has different styles there. He still ended up making about $115 there at the end.
Well, on the river, yeah.
Yeah, and you said it actually before in the beginning of the show. People at this level are not going to lay down the king high flush there on the turn just because the board's paired. Now we're going to take a look at a chip count here and look at Tuckman. He's in the lead. He's got $1,500. He's up
Huge
$1,000.
Huge change from last week.
I think he's even from last week, though. Didn't he lose about 1,000 from last week?
Probably, yeah.
Eric's got 900. Garland's got 760. We haven't really seen much from Garland.
Peter
Peter's in for
rebuy,
another
yeah.
rebuy.
Another 500.
Richard's in there. George is in there. George has actually just went up probably more up to 800.
Yeah, Eric's is probably down and George's up.
Yeah.
So hopefully we can see Peter straighten up his act.
Yep.
They couldn't bring it
No?
to me.
Oh, no, maybe not.
I think it was just checked in. I don't remember.
Yeah, no, they said I have to
always
eat.
eating here.
I have to go and eat inside.
George, people always eat.
I know, I told her, I paid for it, and then she went up.
I see people eat it all the time.
Stupid. It's
Wednesday
so...
night, actually, Ed ordered from the grill right here.
No, but I'm using that voucher.
It's up to you.
Limped around here.
Okay, I see.
Option.
Deal.
Gonna raise.
I said deal.
We're going to see a raise here out of seat 8.
45 more.
Ace queen offsuit. It's going to make it 45 more to go. And Peter's going to call here with queen 9. Garland's got pocket 7s. Looks like he's pretty deep. He's going to make the call. He's got probably, enough to make that 10-to-1 rule on this pocket pair. And we've got three-way action here. And Peter is dominated once again. If a queen comes, will he get involved? And look at this, Shirley. A queen comes off. Queen 3-8 here. And ace queen's going to lead for 100. And Peter quickly calls. Immediately calls. And the pot now is quickly, I want to say, about $350. Well, let's see how this one's going to
Oh,
play
Peter
out.
looks like he's frustrated. What do you think?
I know.
Pot's about $350 now. Stefan has got the top pair, and he's got the best kicker. Here we go to the turn. Turns a 4, no help.
I think you push him on the turn, you can get them all in.
Let's see what Stefan's going to do here.
10 times, maybe.
What do you put Peter on when he just quickly calls the flop
Yeah,
like
but you
that?
got the flush at that point.
Obviously, you got to start thinking. And he's going to lead here for
You're
200.
not expecting a boat at that point.
And
Peter,
Peter's just
what
going to
is
call
going
again.
on?
And the pot is now $700.
I hope he got a lot of money from the ATM.
It is.
Pot is now $700 here. And Peter's going to need to spike
He
a
needs a
9
9.
here. And the river's a king. And this one actually gets checked down because the king there scared them, the overcard, but ace-queen is good.
Damn king.
Stefan checked it, and Peter checked right behind him. And Stefan's going to take down about a $700 pot with ace-queen.
That king saved Peter some money.
Yeah, absolutely.
Saved himself a lot of money by changing the starting hand selection
Yeah.
a little bit. Especially when you're playing, when you're not in,
Even then, I think it's different.
your emotional state of mind isn't right.
Right.
He obviously seems like he's on tilt and
I caught the 10 on the turn.
he's making
Look at this.
emotional
We had an
decisions
email
rather than
here,
logical decisions.
email here from Barry Woods. Andy posted up on the thread saying that he talked to Yosh. He texted him. And apparently Yosh said the game was filled. And Barry interprets that as, dream on, white boy. You're not getting in this game. I still think Barry should make the attempt to come down here, though. See if he can get in the game.
Well, we'll have to see what the rest of the lineup is.
Yeah.
I mean, Barry's one of the better players. I think Barry's one of the better players in that usual game. But, if you get Phil, who's, like you said, is a great cash game player, and some of the other great players, like Vic Park, and who knows who's going to show up. If it's going to be 7 great players on there and only 1 fish, pick a different game.
Well, seed 8 raised here against Stefan out of the blind. He made it, I think, 30 to go, and he got 5 callers. So the pot is now 150, 6-5 deuce here, and David's got middle pair. It looks like it's the best hand right now.
Yeah, it is.
And let's see if it gets checked to him if he's going to bet.
135.
135.
But seat 5's going to come out and bet 135. He's got pocket 4s. He figures if it got checked to him, he might have the best hand.
Well, he has a gut shot, too, so
He's got a pair and a
semi-bluff there.
Same number? Pretty much, yeah.
And Dave said, that's what I was going to bet. I was going to bet 135, and now he's not going to get involved with it. It does not
Well, it's a
look
lot
like.
different, betting it
Yeah.
or calling it.
That's a tough raise to make out of the blind there. Ace-10 offsuit, surely. I mean, Stefan did just raise with ace-queen.
How much did he make it?
He only made it, I think, 30, so it's
Oh,
not really
yeah,
enough to
it's
drive
not-
everyone
right.
out.
Sometimes I'll make a big raise with ace-10 if I don't want to play and just pick up the blinds, but
Yeah.
it's going to be a lot bigger raise than, $30. That's a hand I don't really want to play out of position on, just
Very
either
difficult
mucking or
hand.
trying to pick up the
You
blinds.
know, it's one of my least favorite
I
hands.
know,
No limit
yeah.
and in limit. And I believe that Richard's going to take this one down, I'd imagine. And he does.
He does.
Of course, and he's going to show the pocket 4s, and David knew he's got the best hand. Tuckman had the best hand there in seat 6. But, I think that it was the right laydown. You can't fault Dave for folding
No,
that spot.
like I
Bigger
said,
spot's
it's a
better.
lot easier to...
Shirley, we get
Bet not-
emails and we get people that post up on the threads, and usually they're mostly positive, but whenever we get a negative one, we like to also read it. So we had this post here by No Idea. It says, Barton Shirley, I really have noticed the bitchiness and jealousy shown towards Tuckman. Bart, I like your commentary, but you seem so threatened by Dave, it's not even true. Your glee when Dave played bad the other week and your uncomfortableness
Uncomfortableness.
now is so funny. First you say, oh, I don't think Dave is going to get involved in the call. And then Dave calls and you start talking like it was an easy call, like he was pot committed. Then Shirley agrees. Yeah, logical call. Well, you got me, man. I'm really threatened by
Well,
Tuckman.
I kind of like his name. I think it suits him. No idea. He has no idea what he's talking about.
Hey, it's 35.
David's going to bring this one in for $35.
As a matter of fact, I do not take pleasure when Dave plays bad. I gave him a really hard time last week, like I said.
And did I
And,
really take pleasure? I just said I thought he was screwing around.
You did enjoy it, but I think you did enjoy it, but I didn't. And that call with Ace Jack, it was a tough call.
Yeah, it was.
It was a tough call. It was the right call. I mean, we saw it was the right call, but it was a tough call.
So David raised here, and Peter called him heads up. Peter checks.
75.
And let's see what David's going to do here. He's going to bet 75. I think Dave asked Peter, how much do I need to bet to get you out of the hand? Peter said 75. Dave said, okay, I'll bet 75. And Peter's got a gut shot here to the 7.
This is what? This is not the big boy staple.
Wow.
And he's going to call. How much does he have behind?
I think that was the last of his chips. Maybe Dave asked him how much he had left.
Oh, okay. So I guess he is all in. He needs
Yeah,
a 7
he needs
here.
a 7.
7 and a 7 only.
Dave's got 10-8 again.
And 10s are going to be good here.
Big boy table.
Wow. Just like that, Tuckin wins more money. Well, I have to defend myself. I didn't take pleasure in seeing David lose money. I just didn't take it as seriously as you did, apparently.
Right.
I thought he was screwing around.
Well, I mean, I don't even know if you took pleasure in the fact that he was losing money. I think that you took pleasure in the fact that people were giving him a hard time for playing such a donkey.
Well, yeah, I did take pleasure
Yeah.
in that. I thought that was funny. But
Right.
but when you know David's screwing around,
Uh-huh.
you know,
But
it's
still, I didn't like it. You know I didn't like it. I mean, I went out there and said, what the hell are you doing?
I mean, like I said, it would not. I mean, if you look at us, why would we want somebody who's our commentator,
Right.
who's supposed to know a lot about poker,
Who kind of
play
represents what we do in
right,
here.
play serious and really donk it up?
Right.
Why would they think that we know anything then?
Right.
You know, obviously
It
we're
makes
not
us
gonna
all
want-
look bad,
exactly.
even. Right. So Peter
So
finally
Peter's out of
left.
there.
Yeah, that's a good thing. He was not playing up to par.
Ubenzi here raised with king, queen, and Josh called with pocket 5s. Flop comes out 10-9-6. Ubenzi did not bet. The turn's a 7 of spades. Josh checks again, and Ubenzi checks again. And the river's a 6, and pocket 5s are good. Check, check. So Benzi never really took control of that hand after he raised pre-flop. And and Josh is gonna take it down there. And I think Peter said that he's going over to play the big boy table, so either that's 10-20 or 5-10.
And hopefully he'll do better over there. You know, I mean, sometimes, I don't know if I mentioned it last week, but if you're playing below what you're normally playing, you know, you don't tend to play as well. You know, I know when I play in the 100.
But Peter plays a lot of
even
20, 40, and 30-60 hold'em. I mean, that's, you know, that's not necessarily really, you know, a lot of money compared to this game at 20-40, but I know what you mean if he's playing like higher level, no limit. I just think Peter, and I've seen him play, I've seen him, you know, I've played with him for a year now, I think he's just really prone to go on tilt. You know, much like some other professionals
I
that
don't
we've
think
seen.
I've ever sat at the table with him.
Yeah.
You know, I see him in here all the time. But
We've seen professionals here on the show go on tilt a lot. Especially our, you know, sometimes, you know, certain players that we see on Wednesday night's game.
oh, yeah.
We got a raise here by George. He's got ace-king. And it looks like he is going to take it down there. And he does. So there it is. How about that Barry Greenstein?
I
fella?
just
Is
saw
he gonna
that.
be there tomorrow? Oh, not that I know of, but
Probably not tomorrow. I think he was talking about if we play in the game, either you play in the game or I play in the game, why don't we have Barry come in and substitute as
Yeah.
commentator?
yeah, that'd be cool.
That would be a good
Yeah.
idea. If I run into Barry, I'll try to get him down here, and then you can play in the game, and me and Barry will commentate.
I'm sure
I-
that you
I
guys will
haven't
be
seen
all
him.
over me.
We'll have fun. Well, I always enjoy, you know, sitting here in the booth with Barry because he has so much to offer. Well, just talking with Barry. I mean, even when I see him in tournaments, and he'll sit there and have conversation with me.
Raise 30.
We got a raise here by seat number 1. That is Eric. He's going to make it 30 to go. He's got queen jack offsuit.
25 more. Time for
So it's 25 more here to go.
Did you notice we changed cards back?
I did notice that, and it's
Yeah.
much easier to see the suits now. Obviously, I wasn't the only one that was having problems
You're
with
running
it.
bad. You came up from the commerce to a bitch and how many sets you missed. You ever pocket play with them?
I mean, anytime that you have to struggle to see if your cards are suited, I think it's a problem. I mean,
Well,
poker's hard enough.
especially when it's red and black.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
It was like 2 or 3.
So look at this. We got 5-way action here. It's a $150 pot, 10-6 deuce. Eric's the pre-flop raiser with queen jack. Benzi's got top pair, and he's going to lead right out.
50.
He's going to bet 50. Again, kind of a weak bet, 50 into a 150 pot. Now, George has got a gut shot here to the 8. There are 2 hearts on the board. Does he want to get involved here? If the 8 of hearts came, would he know it's good? We know it can't come because Ubenzi has it in his hand, and he's going to fold.
You sure I pushed all?
You pushed all in.
And Eric's just got overcards. He's going to fold, and that bet is probably going to take it down.
You pushed all in.
And it does take it down.
3 to 500.
Look at the chips over there from Dave. He's got white chips, he's got purple chips, he's got yellow chips. We got an email here from Skip C. He says, I'm new to the show. Can you please explain to a dummy from the East Coast what 300 to 500 no limit is? I don't understand the 300 to 500 part. Well, this is a restricted buy-in game, Skip, and you can buy in for a minimum of 300 and a maximum of 500.
And anywhere in between there.
Our other restricted buy-in games, you have to buy in for 200 and 100.
The specific amount.
This is a range. That's why we call it the 3 to 5 game. And you can actually bring your stack up to the maximum at any time. There's no real requirement.
Isn't it as long as you're below 300?
No, I mean, like, if I have 350 and I want to bring it up to 500, I can do that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always get confused on that. I told you that before. They changed it somewhere along the line, I think. It used to be if you were below 300.
Pots limped around here. We got three-way action. Limped around and then the blinds. Ace, 5, 6 here, all offsuit. Doesn't look like anyone's got much of anything here. Richard's got a 5 in C5. We got checked around the turns. A queen.
The 9 doesn't mean shit.
Gonna get checked around here again, and the river now is a king. Ubenzi backs into the best hand here with a pair of kings.
I had the ace on the flop.
You get the ace on the turn.
You're gonna make me go to the recording?
We go to the recording because we laughed at about it.
And king 9 is gonna be good there.
Sinjin was not
And
there.
there it is. Well, the thing I don't understand is... well, you know what? I don't understand. I don't know how Yosh goes about his business. I'm not a high-level host. But if you've got a bunch of pros in the game, don't they want to mix it with a guy like Barry Woods who's not a pro? Even though we know he plays pretty decent, in some cases a lot better than some of the non-pros in that game.
Right.
So, I mean, Yosh doesn't want to load that game with a bunch of pros.
No, I'm
I
actually
wonder
surprised
why-
that
yeah.
he's getting a snub. Maybe he pissed Yosh
It's
off.
secondary move.
Who knows? Who knows with Yosh, right?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Because there was no more betting before the flop. After the flop.
Who knows?
Not a single bet after the flop.
I pushed
Button's
all
going to
in.
move over to seat
I
5.
just said.
Maybe Yosh knows that Barry can take him too.
On the flop, I made it 200.
On the turn.
Well, again, I always just find it interesting that a
on
lot
the
of the people, including Yosh, that
We're all
play
in before the
in
flop.
that game on Wednesdays
You can change it if you want to.
are from their high-limit mixed games. And those guys don't really have much no-limit cash game experience at all.
No.
Much
Just
less
what they've been doing
restricted
here.
buy-in games,
Right.
you know, which are a totally different animal in the beginning, you know.
Right. So what have we been running that show for about 3 months?
Yeah.
That's about their experience.
Right.
1 day a week for
Right.
3 months.
For 3 hours a day.
Uh-huh.
885 here. It was limped around.
Round deck.
And Richard's got a 5 here. He's got a pair of 5s. Got checked around the turns at 10, and now Richard has a pair of 10s.
20.
Yeah.
Richard's going to bet here.
It was all in before the flop.
He's going to bet 20,
You made a move pre-flop.
and it looks like he is going to take it down.
Way more now. Nobody else would
Chips and I
call.
pushed all in. Francois says, if I call you, can you check it down? Because I have more chips. I said, fine.
Do you
And the
think
button's
all
gonna
those
move
other
over
people
here
would
to
call
seat
if the
7.
aces on the board with 6s and 5s and 8s? They weren't. They were all
By
in
the
before
time
flop.
it came around to them, they
And, you know, Dave is going to be doing a combination tonight, Shirley, of playing in this game and also remote interviews of people throughout the casino that we're going to flip to throughout the night tonight. So check that out. And
And these interviews are for what?
these interviews, it's just something different we're going to do. We're going to attempt to do, just talk to people here at the bike, and, you know, if the action's a little bit slow, we'll switch over here and put this on the stream. Now, normally we do interviews after the show for our TV show, but this is actually going to go on the stream.
Oh,
And I
okay.
think Tuckman has a nice older gentleman who plays stud high low that he's going to talk with, and I'll get his name here in a second. Button's going to move over here to seat 7.
Why are you calling it?
So after this hand, Shirley, we're going to go over to Dave, and I know this gentleman he's talking with. I don't know why he's picked this gentleman to interview, but it's going to be interesting what he has to say to him.
Francois.
It's an older gentleman, much like some of the characters that play in Stud High Low.
Nothing. We just let him tell the story and see who's on the money.
Whatever, adjective you want to use, Phil. Stud high low, guys.
Raise it, make it 35.
We got a raise here, seat 2 to $35. Ace jack off suit.
There was more money in that pot, I think, than chips on this table.
And he's going to take it down and here we go. So take it away, Dave.
On the floor of the Bicycle Casino with Nabil Bakhtar. How you doing, Nabil?
I'm very fine.
Yeah? Okay. Good to see you. This guy is a stud high-low expert. Okay? You see him at a table, stud high-low, run. Okay? Anyway, how long are you playing poker?
Oh, about 40 years.
40 years. And what's your favorite game?
Now is high-low game.
High-low. Stud?
Stud.
Okay.
Previously was low ball.
Low ball.
Low ball, that was my game.
That was your game, huh?
Was game.
Nobody could beat you.
Nobody can. I mean, I have a reputation for that one.
Yeah.
Until the time where this game started to die up. Only few people play low ball. So I switched to high-low.
You ever play Raz?
Not here, no.
Not yet. And how about, say, just like 5-card stud?
Yeah, 5 cards. No, not 5 cards. 7 cards.
7-card stud.
7 cards. I do play 7 cards.
Okay, that's cool. And what's your secret to success in poker?
Well, not that I am successful, which I think I am, but the secret is 2 things.
2 things. Okay.
Yeah.
Here we go, folks. 2 things.
A lot of psychology.
Psychology.
In poker. And secondly, you know when to quit and how much you want to lose in one game, so you don't get too involved. So a matter of control. You control and you manage your money.
Okay. So this is some good advice for life and poker, huh?
That's right. I think so.
Well, there you go. Well, happy holidays to you.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you so much, and good luck in your game. Okay? Go get him. Thanks, guys.
Well, thank you very much, Dave. That was an interesting interview from a nice stud
Well,
high
I mean,
low
it's
player.
really interesting because the guy's been playing for 40 years, and
Yeah, it's a
I
long
mean, he has a
time.
lot to.
That's a lot.
Even though it was
time.
simple what he had to say, I mean,
Yeah.
it's really the truth. It basically does come down to just a couple things.
Well, I mean, you can be the best poker player in the world, but if your money management skills are lacking,
Suck.
a guy
You're
who's
not really a good poker player.
yeah, and a guy who might not be
Actually made a great laydown.
even that great of a poker player, but's got great money management skills, is going to do better than you in the career of poker.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just interesting to,
Seat behind him in second
it's
place,
interesting to know this.
moves all in.
And that's why, they say maybe 10% of people can make a living off of poker. But then of that 10%, how many people actually make enough money to defeat their bad habits? Whether their bad habits be sports gambling or drinking or doing drugs. I mean, we know some of the most successful people couldn't, like Stu Unger.
Right.
Right.
Players.
3-way action here. And George brought this one in for a raise with King Jack, Ace 10 Ace here on the flop. It looks like Josh has the best hand here with Queen 10 in seat 2. He's on the button. But George is going to make a continuation bet here, it looks like. He's got a gut shot to the Queen, and he's going to bet.
I think he's going to bet here trying to represent the ace.
100.
He's going to bet 100, big bet.
He checks it. Turn to jack.
And I wonder if Josh is going to get involved here.
On the turn, so on the river, he checks it. I go 400, he goes all in.
Do you want to get involved here with Queen 10?
Well, I mean, a couple things should be going through his head right here. I mean, first off, would George bet with an ace big kicker because of the jackpot possibilities? Most players wouldn't. So
Yeah,
you
that's
can
fine.
actually kind of eliminate the fact that he has an ace. I said most players, I know you would. I know you would.
Well, I mean, no, it's a good point that you bring up, but it actually really agitates me because people just never, I mean, all of a sudden they see these aces and it never goes through their mind. Never once does it go through their mind. What is a jackpot hand? What constitutes a jackpot hand? Okay, the jackpot possibilities, he's not going to bet with an ace with a big kicker. Did the guy smooth call with jacks, queens, or kings pre-flop? I mean, the table's been relatively passive. I just don't buy it.
Right.
I just don't buy it.
Well, I
You know?
know that, but that's how a lot of the players here, I don't think a lot of the players with the ace big kicker would even think about that stuff. They'd say, oh, jackpot possibilities. They wouldn't even go, into that deep level of
Right,
thinking, okay, well, he only flat called me here, so he probably doesn't have, jacks, queens, or kings.
3 players.
Look at this. Seat 7 limped in here with pocket queens.
And flops a full house.
And no one has anything here. He's going to bet.
And that's a bummer. If someone had a king, he could get, all their chips.
Yeah. David's not going to get involved.
How'd David get in there with 5-10?
Well, he's in the big
limped
blind.
pot.
He's in the
limped
big
pot.
blind. And look at that. It shows the pocket queens. But the other thing, too, is this sometimes drives me nuts, because we've done this so much. On this table, would I be limping in with a big pocket pair in our position?
You
With
wouldn't.
this lineup?
You wouldn't.
Would you?
Probably not. I mean, I don't slow play that much. I, will slow play like earlier when George made the full house. I would probably have slow played that, but I usually bet my hands and bet my draws strong.
Well, it's not. I mean, I don't necessarily consider that a slow play like some of the other slow plays that drive me nuts. Limping in with big pocket pairs with the intention of re-raising the flop is a strategy. But you got to look at the type of table that you're at. Is there a lot of pre-flop raising? And are you comfortable getting rid of your big pocket pair if you've limped around 6 or 7 ways?
Right.
And you take a lot of heat.
Uh-huh.
So here I might just be pretty much raising for value. We got three-way action here, limped around, and we're in the blinds. King 10 Jack. It looks like Tuckman has the best
David
hand
has the
there.
best hand. Ubens has a.
Josh is
Ubenzi?
gonna bet here with pocket 4s. Dave's not gonna get involved. Ubenzi's got an open-ended straight draw. And let's see if he gets involved here. Wow, he's gonna make the call. And this is gonna be interesting to see if Josh
can fire again.
Turns at 10. It's a club. Well, Josh has got the only club in his hand. And it goes check, check here. And the river's a 5, so Benzi misses everything. Is he just going to give up? No, he's going to bet here. It's the only way he can win the hand. And I bet you Josh is probably going to quickly fold. Unless he really thinks that maybe this guy just called with the queen and he missed everything. But the clubs came on the turn.
With a flush, there's a 1 card to the straight.
And this would be one hell of a call. I just don't know if you get involved here.
I don't see how you can.
Yeah, he's going to fold. Iron Dragon 1 here on 2+2 rights. I don't get it. If they want cantankerous high-low split players who frighten the audience, they should have just hit me up.
I thought the guy was cute. He was sweet.
Again, your questions, comments, suggestions are always appreciated.
Always welcome, even if we don't agree.
Yep. Russ McGinley says, this guy's actually the youngest stud player at the bike.
That's a good one.
You can email us also, livethebike.com. Dave Tuckman's got the button here. He's got 6-8 suited. He's going to raise it up to 20, little mini raise, but George has got pocket jacks in the big blind. Let's see how he's going to play it. And I think he's coming back over the top.
I'm scared to see a flop.
Huh?
Yeah, flop. I'll pull some back if you want.
He's going to make it 50 more. And David's trying to look at how deep George is here.
How many chips he has.
David is in position. He's got a gap-suited connector.
Which is normally a good hand that, you can take
And he is going to call.
against a pretty strong hand. But George, I don't know if he'll get the action from George.
I would figure, too, that George would probably need to have at least 600 or 700 in front of him for him to make that call. Maybe he does. George flopped a set. And he's going to bet right into it here. And that's not the flop that Dave was looking for.
Man, you talk more than...
You don't like the flop. You know you don't like the flop.
And Dave says, you don't like the flop. The other thing that sometimes goes through Dave's head
George, you know what?
is if I'm against a tight player,
I know you don't like the flop.
it's not necessarily that I might be playing my cards. I might just be playing my position. And I might be able to just outplay George, regardless if I don't hit the flop or not. But when George came out firing there, Dave just didn't want to get involved.
Hey, show on, show off.
So, maybe, George was, raising with pocket jacks there, and the flop came ace, king, queen. Maybe Dave could have taken it away from him. So I think that's part of the reason why you can make a call like that, position against a tight player.
Which one? Kmart, shirt. Yeah. There you go. I almost bought my shirt. Kmart, Target, which one? That shirt.
That's an interesting shirt.
He was just in a suit and tie.
I know. He went and switched.
Oh, this. Exactly. I got it at Pax Up.
He carries his gym bag with him.
Yeah. Poker clothes.
Under Armour. Stock just went public. Under Armour.
buttons over there in seat 7, Ubenzi. I think we have a seat open.
Got a lot of stock in that company.
I do, yeah.
A lot of stock in that company.
Limp here. And it looks like it's going to be limped around your 4-way action. So that means it's a $20 pot. Ace, deuce, 10 here with a couple of hearts.
That flop comes out. I don't know what you had. I would hope you had.
And no one really has any big piece in this. Richard's not going to bet here on the 10. Gets checked over to Ubenzi. He's got a gut shot, and he's going to take a stab at it here from the
So
left.
why not?
35.
$35 bet
Oh,
here.
35, George? Okay.
George is out. Sure, Eric's going to leave. Oh, Richard's going to make the call.
2 players.
He's going to make the check call. Turns a 9. And now Ubenzi's open-ended. Is he going to take a card here? And he does take a card.
Both check.
And the river's a king, and Ubenzi gets there.
He hits it.
And it's going to get checked here by Richard. And Ubenzi's going to bet 100 here. And now you start looking at 10-8. Will I check the turn? Well, he's going to let it go. There wasn't a whole lot out there you could beat except for maybe a
flush
busted
draw.
heart draw. Or just a guy that was trying to make a steal on the flop and then figured, well, might as well bet the river and see if this guy didn't like his 10. And again, it wasn't difficult to put that guy on a 10 with a check call or maybe on a draw. Because obviously he probably would have bet an ace there second to last act, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Especially with 2 hearts on the board, he's going to bet his ace.
And seat 7's got pocket 10s here. That's Ubenzi. Dave's got a deuce 4 of hearts. He's going to limp in.
$40. Queens.
And Ubenzi's going to raise it up to 40 here with pocket 10s.
This one he raised. I know, that's what I'm wondering. Queens, you limped in. How you raise it? Must have 9, right?
So let's see what David's going to do here. How deep is Ubenzi's pretty deep. Does Dave want to take this? Now look at this. He folds the gap-suited connector here, surely. But he called against George. But you can tell he was on a position there, and obviously he did not want to take that heads up. Looks like Ubenzi might only have about maybe 400. And, you know, that's a big raise, $40, to play against a guy who stacks only 400, you know, to play that hand out of position. And he didn't want to get involved with it. Very smart. Again, you can play Dave Tuckman tomorrow in a multi-table free roll. It's a $200 bounty on his head, $100 prize pool, and I think that goes winner take all to the person who wins. Actually, the structure is on the Live the Bike website. Is the places there on the final table. It's actually on the Play for Free site, surely, the structure of how the payout goes. We've got 4-way action here. Limped around. 8-4-3. But you do have to do something to qualify to play in that tournament because it is kind of a beta test again here at the multi-table tournament. You have to get a promo buck. And you can do that by going to the Bikes Play for Free website and winning a sit and go. Free roll sit and go. We get a bet here
17.
by George. He's going to bet with ace high here. Playing ace rag in late position. And I believe the action is over here to seat number 2, Josh. And I believe that he check raised here with middle pair, queen 4, and that's probably going to be enough to take it down.
80 more.
$80 more, and George is going to get rid of it.
All right, man. Take it.
And he shows the ace high, and he folds. Now, my understanding is that the next time that we do a free roll tournament, that it will actually open up to everyone. It may be open to everyone, but again, this is something new and we're testing it out, so that's why it's limited to people that have earned promo bucks. So, again, check it out.
So
Nobody
tomorrow-
knocked him out last time. That's why the bounty's $200 on him. Yeah.
So last time it was a live cash game, and you just said tournament. This time it's going to be a tournament?
This is a multi-table tournament, just
Okay.
like any other tournament. So there's a prize pool for the
So
people
someone,
that win.
I
And
mean,
then there's a
unless
bounty on
Dave
David
wins
said.
the whole dang thing,
Right.
then
Somebody should get some
someone
money.
is going to get money.
Well, I think the people that, finish in second and third get money, too. Again, the structure's on
Cool.
the play for free sites.
Yeah, that's fun. And then, whoa, look at that. Flopped
Jack
a straight.
10-8 here, yeah. Josh has got a straight with Queen 9. It was limped around.
25.
Gets checked to him. He's going to bet 25 here.
I call anybody.
And it looks like he's going to take it down.
Thank you, sir.
I call anybody.
It's so interesting how the development of internet poker, you get, as I said, that now I pretty much play almost on Full Tilt and Absolute exclusively. I don't play on Party anymore. I sometimes will give my name out. My name is some form of Live at the Bike Bar or Live Bike Bar on Absolute and Full Tilt. With all these sites, including Party, you develop these points for playing in cash games, and then you can use those points to play in free rolls.
Right.
I haven't really necessarily was super attracted to free rolls because I didn't think it was really worth all that much. I mean, okay, a $500 free roll with 3,000 people in there.
Right.
It's almost like, is it worth it?
Right.
But I mean, you can do it to, I guess, hone your skills a little
Yeah,
bit, right?
right.
Yeah.
Well, some of them are actually pretty good. I know that Stars has, where you have 10,000 points and you can actually win the trips,
Yeah.
to the World Series or to Atlantis and stuff like that. The only thing is, you do face a lot of opponents, and they're usually only given 2 seats. So,
Right.
you might have to beat a field of 1,000 people
45.
Right.
and spend all day trying to get that seat.
Garland bet here $40 with nothing. Ubenzi's got the nut flush draw here. He checked it from up front. Pot was limped around. And Ubenzi is going to make the
He
call
makes
here.
a call, and I'm not thrilled with just a flat call. I think it's a good spot, too.
Well, there's the club.
He
He's
hits
got the
it.
flush.
2 players.
And it goes check here, and the river is a 9. And I'm sure that Garland is not going to call here.
That's 40, no call.
Quickly folds. This game is quickly turned into a little tight, needy game here. And these are the types of games that actually David says he likes, as opposed to a wild game. Somewhere that he can raise in position, and usually if somebody doesn't hit something big on the flop, he can just bet and take it down.
Right.
The only thing about the ones on Stars, and even some of the other sites that give away, say, trips or satellites, is, aren't that amount of points? Isn't that worth some equivalency in money when they do promos, where it's almost like you're putting in $200 anyways? Because sometimes can't you redeem the points for money? I know
I don't
Party
think so.
occasionally says, "Well, now for the next 2 days you can redeem these points for this amount of money," and it works out to be that
Oh,
they're
they've
not.
never done that.
they've never
God,
done
man,
that on
I'd be
Stars.
rich. No.
Well,
I
no,
play
but
a
believe
lot
me,
on
it's not
Stars.
that much, though. Believe me, it
I
wouldn't
have
be
a
that
lot
much.
of points
Yeah.
on Stars. You can use it to get, the stuff from the store.
Right.
But anything I want from the store, I can have,
Look at
anyways.
this flop for Tucker. He's got an
35.
open-ended flush draw and straight flush draw, and George is going to bet 35 here with ace rag. And let's see how David plays this. Open-ended straight flush draw. He is favored here with 2 cards to come. Now Ubenzi's got a gut shot to the 8. He's got 15 outs, right, with 2 cards to come here. 9 club outs and 6 more straight outs.
15, uh-huh.
Yeah. If you were to take this one and run in a simulation with 2 cards to come, David would be a favorite. Now the issue here, though, is he going to see 2 cards? And he's going to raise with his draw, like he preaches.
Raise, another 60.
And do you think George can take the heat here with ace deuce?
Well, it seems like there's a little bit of competitive,
Yeah. And again, I mean,
competitiveness between these two. I don't know if
even
George
if
can take it.
even if George were to know David's hand now, I mean, obviously, David's hand is almost big enough now where if the pot builds up so much and George re-raises here, Tuckman can either call
Push,
an all
yeah,
in or move
or
all
push
in.
all in.
I mean, his hand is huge draw. Definitely, if you're getting anywhere near 50-50 odds, you're obviously going to make an all-in call here. Now, obviously, the pot has not been built up here yet, but... And George is going to make the call. So here we go to the turn. The turn's an 8. Now Tuckman's got more outs. He's got a pair.
Right.
And he takes a card. And the river is the
Ooh.
club, and he's made a straight flush. Tuckman's made
And
a
I
straight
guarantee
flush
you
on
he's
the river.
showing this hand. If he bets and George doesn't call, he's still going to show the table. Look, I
I
made a
can't
straight
imagine
flush.
that George is going to be able to call here.
I don't think he will be able to make the
The
call.
pot is about $250. Let's see what he's going to do. See how much he thinks that he can extract from George. What do you put George on when he called your raise?
Pretty much what he has, a weak ace.
And he's going to bet 300. He's actually going to overbet the pot a bit, making it look like a steal here, Shirley.
That's a nice bet.
I think he's actually overbet the pot to make it look
because
like,
he knows how George is.
That make it look like that George, to George that he might be stealing it here. But George really can't beat much.
George is going to eat.
He can't beat clubs. He can't beat a 7.
I like this bet.
Well, I always like.
And because I said, but overbets don't work with a lot of people.
Well, they work against some advanced players.
With George, it could work.
Yeah.
I mean, there is that. I said there is, that competitiveness between the two of them. Plus, George is more advanced than the normal players on this table. And George could very possibly read this as trying to still bet.
Well, Tuckman's got the absolute nuts here.
Yeah.
And he's not going to get a call. And he doesn't
show it.
Does not
show
it.
Wow.
Well, there it is.
I'm impressed.
Rosario, you were wrong
I
again.
was wrong.
God.
You get a recorder for that one. That's the only time you're going to hear me say that.
And look at Dave. He's continuing to
Oh,
stack
yeah.
up
It's
those
already
chips.
recorded. It's recorded.
Yeah, yes.
Now they're going to have Shirley.
Can we get that on a sound
They're going to have
please?
Shirley soundbite. I
It's
was
like,
wrong.
Shirley,
I was wrong.
my heart. That is definitely one
that you're
the
going
sound
to
clips.
enjoy, yeah.
Raise it, make it 40.
Dave's got ace-king here. He's going to raise it up to 40. And I think that George might have it looked like Jack 10. Maybe it was offsuit. He folds, and Dave's going to take it down. Straight flush, huh? 2-card straight flush? Not very common.
No.
Count that in the amount of times I've had that on my hand. You know? Button's going to move over here to seat 9. And we're going to read a couple of emails here. We got a bunch of emails. And it does not look... I think this one's probably going to get chopped around here. Yeah. George has got a couple of ragged cards here on the button. He's not going to play. Okay, we get an email here from Wyatt Godin. He says, "Hi, Shirley and Bart. I was just curious about some of the buy-in rules at the bike. I know in the whale game, if a player buys in for $5,000 in Ghost Bust, he or she can rebuy for $10,000. Now, can a player buy less than $5,000 at the start? And if so, is there a minimum? Also, let's say a player can buy in for $2,500 in Ghost Bust. Can she rebuy for $10,000? Now, and he also says, P.S. Happy Holidays from the East Coast of Canada. Now, I'm going to give you an answer, Wyatt, and I know it drives Shirley
It does
nuts.
drive me crazy, you're going to say.
They make up the rules as they go along in that game.
He tends to think that. It is a $5,000 buy-in. They have to buy in for $5,000, no more, no less. It is a restricted buy-in.
Right.
After that, they can rebuy for an additional $5,000. But I believe the rebuys is up to $5,000 because I know that the next rebuy, the next rebuy when you can rebuy for $10,000, you don't have to do the full $10,000.
But believe me, I'll tell you, and you can't deny this, that we've seen some stuff go on that has not necessarily been consistent with that when we've been doing the show for the last 3 months.
Okay.
But it doesn't, I mean, if all the players agree, it doesn't matter. I mean, it's just a game that goes on once every week, so it really doesn't matter. I mean, if you wanted to come down and play in this game and ask Yosh, we need to play by the rules stringently, I'm sure that he would enforce them. But if they're all, and they don't disagree, remember, it's no good at home.
That's a valid
really
point. I just don't like it to think that, people that are hosting the game are just kind of making rules that suit them. But
it's the nature of that particular game, Shirley, where it just doesn't really make all that much of a difference. Now, 8-9-3 here on the flop. And David's got a flush draw and a straight draw.
And a straight draw again,
He's going to bet 20.
This time it's a gut shot.
Ben's got middle pair. He's going to call.
That was a bad call. I can bet the turn also. Hold on, let me. I was thinking about coming out flying on the turn.
So here we go.
I'm like 250. You're going away. Maybe you don't.
Wow, the turn's an 8. New Benzi's got trips now. Let's see how David plays it. Pot's about $50. Actually, it's about 60.
I had a feeling David was going to go for chips on this one.
He's going to bet 50.
He's going to think that Ubenzi had the 9, and this is a good semi-bluff card. But
150.
Yeah.
Done.
And I'm sure he's done. And there it is. Benzi, he spiked an 8 here. He's going to make it 150 to go, and David is quickly out of the hand. What I mean by that is it's the nature of the game in that restricted game that if you've got 8 guys playing in the game and they're all really deep because they've been playing since 5 o'clock, and a guy sits in the game at 10:30, and the 7 or 8 or 9 of them don't object, saying, "Can I come in and buy in for $20,000?" And they say yes, then it doesn't really matter. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's not really breaking a rule. It's
If
just
everybody agrees.
It's a restricted buying game where they can literally make the rules flexible and bend the rules as they go along, because it's not really necessarily changing the course of the game if nobody objects to it, and that's what I mean by that. So, another email here. Mike Howe. He says, "Love the show. Out of curiosity, any chance of showing a mixed game like horse on a whale night?" Well, actually, the funny thing is, Mike, is that
That's how we started.
have actually done mixed games here way back when. And if you take a look in the archives back in, I want to say February, we did 1 or 2. It doesn't really work out all that well
No, yeah, you could see that. It was kind of disastrous.
because we only have a window here for 2 cards. The pot was limped around here. 6, 4, 3 here with a couple of clubs.
David does have to open in
Open-ended.
straight draw.
He's going to bet 20.
So their former
That's 20.
CO, their former COO.
And it doesn't look like anyone else has anything here.
We found it. We couldn't find it for like 6 months. We finally found him. It's Pina hit him.
And he's
got him in.
probably going to take it down here, and he does take it down.
Yeah, I wish sometime we could get something to where we could spread Omaha.
Yeah, I mean,
Love
we always
to
talked
do.
about that, but the windows aren't that big enough. And
Right.
the other thing, too, that people aren't necessarily familiar with the show is that you can watch on ESPN, too, any form of stud or any form of draw game where you would need to see the cards come up, physically up on the table. Cameras can't really pick that up that well.
Right.
On ESPN, when they do stud, they don't show up cards, they have them in graphics. Same thing with us. We're actually manually inputting card graphics. We have a person that does it. So it's very, very difficult when you get into more cards than 2 cards per person to obviously do that.
That's true.
So, and we can't pick up cards. So it would be impossible to do like a Raz or a stud
I'm
game.
talking Omaha. Yeah.
Right, no, but Omaha it goes along with
They'll
the same
have to
thing. It's
input
4
4.
cards.
Yeah, input 4 whole cards.
But we actually might be able to pull that off at some point down the line.
That
It's a
would be
flop
that would be
game.
nice. Yeah.
And email here from Jeff Rodriguez. If both Ed and the Unabomber are in the cash game tomorrow night, it's a lock that the Unabomber will win a free roll into the next $10,000 buy-in.
That's
tournament.
it.
You'd never know. Ed
That's a
actually
funny
played
one.
pretty well
Did he?
last week. Yeah.
Oh, last Wednesday.
Yeah, last Wednesday. C2's got Ace King. He's going to bring it in for a raise here.
$30.
He's going to bring it in here for $30. Okay, Richard's going to make a call here. He is dominated and he's out of position.
Two players.
Queen 7-10 here.
Move all in. Yeah, I know you got 2 pair at least.
And it goes check, check here.
You might have said.
Ace King did not make a continuation bet. Check, check again. King 10 doesn't bet this time, and the river's a spade. And this one just goes check, check.
Hands.
King 10's going to take it down. And David's actually talking to George about his hand. He's actually
Did
told him
he?
what he had.
He did
Yeah.
tell him that he had.
Yeah.
I wanted to be honest with you. I wanted an offsuit. I didn't want the 5 of clubs. You know what they'll do.
So
And he's saying that, a better card would have completed his straight off suit because it's obviously not necessarily as obvious that he
obvious.
made a straight as opposed to a flush. But he made the straight flush.
But it feels so good. It makes straight flush. I was going to say that I'm almost positive from last time I talked to Phil that he does subscribe to the archives.
Oh, clear.
So that even makes it more of a lock,
Yeah.
because it feels like that. It feels really intellectual.
Absolutely.
Kind of over the top intellectual.
Believe
where
me,
he would sit there.
I sat down to do it. I interviewed him at the Rio. It was supposed to be a 2-minute interview, and it ended up being 27 minutes.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And a lot of the stuff was stream of consciousness on his side, but it was cool. I tried to follow it.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So my point is, I'm sure he's done his homework and is
Yeah.
ready to play and is fully prepared tomorrow.
Benzi's going to bet here. Pocket deuces. He's got the best hand here. 10-4-5, a couple clubs on board. And I don't think that anybody raised pre-flop here. This is a really, really tight passive table right now. Extremely tight passive. And like I said, just probably the exact table that Tuckman wants to be on. Especially when he's got a lot of chips here. Not necessarily a table with chock full of Eds and Dimitris and Jesuses that are, just chase you down. This is a tight passive table. He really can take control, use his chips,
Right.
just continue to win small pots. So I think he's in an absolutely great situation right now. With an hour and a half to go here.
Call raise.
I don't know what Eric is thinking about here with King Jack of Hearts.
Oh, I just happen to be here because I know that other
No, if he knows the action's on him. Yeah, he's gonna fold it. And Tuckman, or excuse me, Ubenzi takes it down.
You know, this is the toughest game.
You did have it.
No, it was a game.
And there it is.
Thank you, man. No, but I mean,
So anyone that wants to play with Phil Locke and maybe a couple of whales,
that's the only way I could take that 500 game.
I guess call the Bicycle Casino and
Yeah.
talk to Yosh, or just come
See if-
down
see
here.
if Yosh-
Pester the little young,
See if Yosh will let you in a game.
little short Asian guy. He's the host of the High Limit game. His name is Yosh. He's down there almost every day, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I don't know. I think they may have mixed it up a little bit on me right there.
But and there's the big game. There's Tuan Lee, Hassan Habib.
Yes,
Wonder if some of them will be playing tomorrow as well.
possibly.
Yep.
Well, now that they're all back from Bellagio, I would imagine we'll start seeing them in the game more regularly again.
This one's going to get chopped around here into the blinds, it looks like.
he was there for a while, but he was.
Well, we have a post here by Methodic Entropy. I don't know who this gentleman is, but he said that he was in contact with Yosh, or he said, I didn't ask Yosh who was playing, but I bet they're big action players. He just told me they had one seat open, but I gave it up. Good luck getting a seat, Barry. I'm now starting to regret that I passed the seat up. Well, action players like we've never seen before on the show. I mean, you got to think that Ed would definitely qualify if Ed wants to play in the game.
Ed's the action player.
Yeah, but you wonder who else. Would Jay qualify as an action player in that game? He's played in the
Jay?
game a couple times, yeah. Well, I'm definitely looking forward to tomorrow night then, obviously.
Yeah.
It's going to be a lot of fun. Tuckman is going to raise it up here to 25.
Yuck. 10-4.
10-4 of diamonds. Well, I mean, I think he's, raising in position here. Again, not necessarily with the hand. He's in the cutoff. George has got queen 9. He's flopped second pair, but Tuckman's got bottom pair. George checks.
It says stud king on it.
And Dave's going to bet the pot here. Bets 40. And does George want to continue on here with queen 9? Yeah, he's going to call.
He does.
Turn is a king. And if David bet again
If he
here,
can continue,
it would
he
be
could
really
probably
difficult.
take this pot.
No,
Nope,
he's going to check
he's
it.
done.
And the river's a 10, and he called it, and he's got 2 pair. But George is going to come out and bet here.
I think he needs to bet a little bit more.
He's going to bet 50, and now Dave's going to run the hand back in his head. Does George have a jack here? Did he have queen jack? Ace jack, you probably think he would have played a little bit harder, right? Can you put George on a jack here? Can you make this call with 2 pair? Obviously, a higher 2 pair beats you as well. Could he have queen 10?
Oh, it doesn't look like he's calling.
No. The spades
Call,
didn't get
David.
there.
Call, David.
The spades didn't get there. And he actually does have the best hand here with 10-4.
That's what he gets for playing that crap.
Well, again, I think he's just trying to take control of this table. I said this is his ideal table. He's going to raise in the cutoff. He's going to buy
I
the
like
button.
raising it in the position and stuff like that and outplaying, but just hands that work together a little better than 10-4. Well, my worst hand is 10-5. 10-4 is probably close second. So
Again, Dave said I think you're only betting a jack. But do you put George on a jack here? I think he said you're only betting a jack or spades.
Well, I mean, if it's a 50-50, it's an easy call.
And he's going to make the call. And he's got the best hand here. Queen is no good. 10-4s are going to take it down. And he's going to have to turn that shit up.
Yes,
Shirley.
he is.
There it is. Sometimes you wish you can win the hand without showing your cards.
That was probably the reason why he was inclined to fold from the get-go, was saying, if I call and win, I'm going to have to show this crap.
I knew you didn't want a 10, man. That's a good card for you. All right, make that cool.
And the battle continues between Dave and George.
I really thought I had you.
The only thing you can bet there is a jack or nothing.
Ace jack?
You can't. No, ace jack. I said you're not betting ace queen. You're not betting ace queen. You're not betting any ace. You want a showdown there.
Dave said he wasn't going to bet an ace there. Which is probably right.
Next time I'm getting a bit
A bit more, I throw it away.
Next time
Next time, bluff more. You bluff 200, I can't call. Always got to bluff more.
Now Dave's encouraging him to stick more money into the pot. That way when Dave has the jack, he's going to get paid.
no way you raise with that hand. All right, I'm raising now. Now you got me pissed off.
Okay, it's been limp, and now George is putting in a raise. He has 8, 9 there. 8 of hearts, 9. 9 of clubs.
Put it in there. You want a big lawsuit?
That's true. Really, its problem is collecting. 35? Yes.
Well, this one's easier to collect.
And his attorneys are going to take a big chunk of it.
So yeah, I would say he's a little pissed off. Putting in a raise there with 9-8.
3 players. That's fucking ridiculous. Go ahead. Bluff out. Bluff out.
Flop is ace jack 7.
Okay, I'll leave you one more chance to bluff.
Turns at 5. Nobody has anything still. King high's good.
Again.
Nobody wants this spot? There's nothing there. Go ahead, bet up.
Bet, you get it.
Go ahead.
Still nobody has a pair. Who wants this pot?
60. Smells like a trap to me. That smells like a trap.
Well, apparently it's George because he's
Yes,
going to bet 60
he's
here
betting
at the
60
end.
and he's gonna take it.
Going to take it down. I had 9 high there.
Well, that'll make him feel a little bit better. He finally won a hand.
So we're about halfway through the show.
Anything goes, I don't bet, man.
Again, we get an exciting night tomorrow. You can play David Tuckman in a multi-table tournament with bounties. Go to Live at the Bike or go to the Bike's free play for free site, which is thebike.com.
40. Let's get this game going.
Now Dave's got pocket aces
Now I got
here,
position on you. I love it. I don't even care what my
and he's going to raise to I think it was 40, 50, and George called with 8.
George is really
offsuit,
frustrated
C9.
with David.
I gotta go
Wow.
rescue my children.
Enough, tough.
C5's going to call,
There's more in my pocket.
and George is goading Tuckman on, and
George is normally a very good player. He's letting his emotions get the best of him.
7-3-4
Like
here.
we've seen a lot of good players.
Dave's got the overpair. And Richard's going to bet out here with nothing. He's going to bet 60. And the pot now is $160. And let's see how Dave plays this one. He's got George to contend with behind him. He's got the overpair. He raised it to 50 pre-flop. You would think that these guys wouldn't necessarily be in here with garbage. And he's looking at George because
I know. I was going to say, normally you would put in a raise here, but
I
he
think he
knows
might-
that George...
well, he's going to raise it right now. What I was going to say was maybe he just calls here because he wants to play a trap against Richard, but we can see Richard just putting in a bluff.
Mm-hmm.
And George here,
George does have one pair.
gonna
He's
fold.
done.
and Richard was just
Has-
making
yeah,
a stab
bad
at it.
timing there, Richard. He hasn't
Yeah.
played a hand, finally decides to take a stab, and
Yeah.
Tuckman has aces.
His ass has got 7.
George is now moving over to seat 8 for some reason.
He wants to get closer to David.
Yeah, closer.
Yeah. How he can smack him upside his head.
So Dave is doing really, really well for himself.
I had a good hand. I had a big hand.
He said he had a big hand. He did have a big hand. Well, you know that the Greek poker guard is going to watch this show on the archives or go back and watch it on the replay. So it's like, the more that we egg him on here on the broadcast, the more he's going to get irritated.
Trap or no?
I think he thinks that he could sometimes do a better job commentating than we do. He
Really?
doesn't necessarily agree with a lot of our analysis.
I
think that's why he's got a
never
little
said
bit of a
anything to me
he's
about
got a little bit of a chip on his
a
shoulder
hard
about
time.
Tuckman.
Oh, yeah. You guys probably commentate on him more than I do because I think he's only been in the game maybe
Oh, because you
a
do,
couple times.
Tuesday and a Wednesday.
Tuesday and Wednesday, yeah. I don't see him that often.
Yeah.
And I do see normally he plays very well. I really do think that his emotions are getting the best of him tonight.
I have actually definitely seen him go on tilt in games that I've played in. He hasn't really, gone
I've
on
seen
tilt
it one
real
other
bad
time before.
when he's on the show, but when I played with him, I've seen him go on tilt.
If you're calling for that hand in particular, I told you what I had. Edgar, chips, any good chance?
Button's going to be over there in seat 6.
45.
Look at this.
Five's the new five.
George is going to race here. Can we flip over there to camera 8?
Yeah,
Let's go
show.
see
They're not gonna
camera
believe
8.
George
He's
is,
got
like, really losing his
$45
mind.
under the gun. The camera 8 window cam. I wonder if we can see that. There it is. Queen 4
George just laughed
offsuit.
it.
He's raised to 45, and he's going to get called. He's getting called now by seat 1.
Is it seat 1 or 2? 2
And
has
seat
9.
2.
Yeah,
Seat
seat
1
2 has
and
9.
seat 2. And
That's
look at this.
logical.
And Ubenz is in there with ace 4. We got 4-way action. Pot's about $180. Flop comes king
Wow.
5-6, and Eric's flopped a nut flush in seat 1. George has got the second nut draw.
George is out of position, and he might fire here, and Eric's going to get more money than...
He's
No,
going
he
to check.
checks.
Let's see what Eric does here. He's going to He's going to check. He's going to slow play it. Here we go to the turn. The turn's a 6. Now the board is paired. And you'd imagine that Eric's going to put some money in now. And he's going to bet
Bet 40.
$40 here into a pot that's $190. So it's almost like he either got a monster or he's trying to make a small steal. And Josh is going to call a pocket 9.
And I see Eric do this a lot, usually with hands when he's not holding anything.
Yeah.
So this is surprising that he does have the nut flush and he's just betting a small amount. So that would
Well-
really throw me if I was in this game.
Josh is drawing live here. If he catches a 9, he might bust Eric.
If he catches a 6, too.
Yeah. Here we go to the river. The river's an 8. No, it's not going to do it. But again, it's not an overcard there to what was, I guess, second
Right.
pair.
If Josh thought his 9s were good,
Yeah. And Eric's going to bet again. This time he's going to bet a little more. Looks
then
like
they would
100.
most likely still be
Actually,
good.
it's only 60. Excuse me, it looked like 100. It's only 60.
Oh, yeah, they're only stacks of $15.
The pot is now $330, and it's a $60 bet here on the river. And he's going to get called, and Eric's going to take it down there with a monster nut flush. Well, it's interesting that you gave that background. If people that are really astute that play with Eric a lot notice that he normally does that when he's making a bluff. Well, maybe he mixed it up correctly that time.
Right.
Of course, I'm not usually a big fan of the way that he played the hand, but you know,
Right.
giving the information about him, you know, if he's doing something he normally does as just a steal, well,
Well, the way that he played that hand, if I was
Yeah.
sitting in seat 2 seat,
Yeah.
he would have got paid from me, too.
with the pocket nines.
With pocket 9s,
Yeah.
yes.
Is he the type of guy that's going to fire twice, though, as a bluff? You know? Maybe
I
he
think
thinks
so.
that you're
I've
on a
seen him do
spade
that.
draw,
Yeah,
or
I've
you're
seen
trying to
him-
make it look like he was, you know, that he thinks you're
And
on
he
a
just
spade
bets.
draw.
He gets away with it a lot. He makes those small bets and he takes down a lot of unwanted pots with those things. And
You don't think
it
he
just
has
basically
anything, or you
no.
know he doesn't have
Well,
anything?
I know he doesn't because of from what I've seen on here.
Yeah.
We saw he did it earlier tonight too, where he made a smallish bet.
Richard's going to raise it up here to 35 out of the blind with ace-7 offsuit. And he's going to take it down there. You can see those guys in the background there show that the security comes around once every 8 hours, collects the drop box
Except
and the tournament.
the bike's money, right?
And there's a lot of money in those boxes. Those guys come around, they're huge guys. They got weight belts on. Those things are heavy. 8 hours of dropping $3 chips in those boxes. A lot of chips in those boxes. Now Tuckman's got King Jack on the button here, and you'd imagine that he's going to put in that raise in position again. Pretty good hand, especially if he's going to open with it. And George is in the blind, so you know he's probably going to raise. And George has got a jack, and David's got him dominated. He's going to raise it up. See if George makes the call with Jack 8. It's a $20 bet here. George calls, so if a jack comes out here, surely George could get into some trouble. Here we go to the flop. Ace, king, ace. David actually, it goes check, check here. David might be checking to induce a bluff. He's made, well, he still's got a pair of kings. And George is going to come out and bet now. He's going to bet 40. I got to think that Tuckman checked the flop to induce a bluff
That's
here
what I
on the
was
turn.
thinking.
and
But then
made
he
the
wasn't
call.
liking that it was a
Wow,
diamond.
now it's another diamond here on the river. And George is going to bet again.
And the funny thing is David told him.
I played this hand so bad.
Well, I think,
David told him you're going to have to bet more money.
yeah, it's a $65 bet here, and the pot, and he's not going to get called. He's going to get bluffed out here by George. I just think that Dave thought that he was playing the king a little bit tricky by checking it there on the flop, obviously. And when the jack came out on the turn, he made the call, but it was the third diamond. And then the fourth diamond came, and then Dave was just like, you know what? I played this hand so bad I'm not going to lose any more money on it, even though he did have the best hand.
Well, he did have the best hand,
Yeah.
but there weren't many hands that George was going to fire there.
Right. And
I
George
mean,
is
that he
actually,
had it.
it's funny, George, who usually, he's a pretty tight player, but he's actually got a great combination because he seems to really be tight aggressive, especially right now in this game against David, because he's been betting hands where people with two pair, or say in this case second pair, which we would think would be really good heads up with a paired board with the aces, aren't calling because he's still firing into a scary board. I mean, David almost laid down the 10-4 diamonds about a half an hour ago
Right.
with that board. So he's not scared to fire there twice,
Right.
out of position. This pot here is going to be chopped around.
Like I was saying, I mean, what could David possibly beat?
Right.
I mean, there were 4 diamonds on the board. There was an ace on the board.
I just,
Possible
I'm
straight
really,
up.
I'm actually really surprised that David,
You got it?
well, that George actually bet right into the turn. Because again, when the board comes out ace, king, ace there, I don't really buy the fact that Tuckman doesn't take a stab at it unless he's trying to trap me.
Unless he has a
And I
big
think
hand.
that he
Well,
was. I think he was actually checked the
No.
flop with the intention of trapping there, don't you? Why
Yeah.
else wouldn't he?
Yeah.
I mean, his hand wasn't, it wasn't incredibly big, and it just got worse and worse as the turn in the river came.
Right. But we do know that, I mean, David would bet an ace in position. We all bet our trips, right?
George is going to raise here to 50. Well, again, he could just change up his game and do something the exact opposite that he normally does against George, who's very privy to the show. Just makes it up a little bit. So George raised it to 50 here on the button, king, queen. Not going to be a call.
I think I need cards to raise.
Are there any other players playing besides David and George?
Yeah, these guys are playing really, really tight, really, really passive. And that's why I think that David's probably a huge fan of this table, especially with what he has in chips right now.
I know what you mean.
Button moves over here to seat 1. Now, there are a couple emails here on a post on 2+2. It said, Bart, do you know of any classy strip clubs in the area? Shirley, do you?
I was going to address that,
Yeah.
but I
Do you? Because you
Well-
probably know better than I do.
I know that Fritz isn't that far from here. That's off the 91 in Bellflower.
What about
And it's right off
Spearmint
the-
Rhino right down?
Right off the. I've never. The only one that I've been to is Fritz. So, and that place is pretty cool. It's not
Alright.
like it's a dive, cheesy hole in the wall,
Eric raised here to 40.
and it's not far from here.
Jack 8 of hearts.
Quarter. He's got a new form.
I was never really the type of guy that was into strip clubs. I know some guys are. I just
In the back.
do it for me.
Well, I never really understood it, myself, but my cousin wanted to get a job there, so we went down there to check it out.
Pocket sevens against Jack 8 of hearts here. Josh checked. He called in the small blind with sevens, and Eric's going to bet, and he's got top pair. Is Josh going to get into some trouble here? Not a bad flop for pocket sevens. Eric has bet 60 here. He's made a little, maybe 3/4 the size pot bet here. And again, people who are really watch this show a lot, these are the most difficult decisions that I think in No Limit Hold'em come around with these mid-pocket pairs. That you might be trying to hit a set, you might think your hand's good anyways. The guy in the button, he could be raising with any 2 cards. You're only facing 1 overcard. How do you play it?
Right.
If the guy had raised with Jack 9, he probably would make the same continuation bet here on the flop. And this would be a really tight lay down here for Josh. If you're going to just lay this down, playing on this table, I don't know if you should even bother playing. Unless he's got a really good read on the guy that he has an 8. I mean, we know he's beat, but just to check fold here is pretty tight, isn't it?
I think so. I mean, that's a pretty perfect of a flop.
And he
without
just
hitting your
folds.
set.
Wow.
Yeah, he does fold.
Yeah. Wow. And the guy shows him in the 8. So there you go. He made the right
And
fold.
make him feel better. That's why you don't show your
Go
cards.
under there too.
It's not even so much to, that you don't want to give the players information, which is some of the reason.
Yeah.
But I never want to make a player feel good about a laydown.
No, of course not. Never want to give somebody confidence that they, You know, they were doing an interview with Annie Duke about the Tournament of Champions last year, and she said that one of the biggest things that attributed her success in the end of that tournament was the laydown that she made against Greg Raymer when she had pocket tens and he had kings. After he got knocked out, he went over and told her that it was a good laydown that I had pocket kings, and she said from there...
That was a confidence booster that she needed.
Josh raised here with ace-jack on the button to 40, and C5 calls 6-8, and look at this, he's got trip eights. He's going to check the trip eights, see what Josh does here. Josh is going to bet.
Bet 60.
He's going to bet 60. And how is Richard going to play it? Yeah, so he's got about maybe 350 left in his stack here. He's going to move all in. Hope that maybe ace-jack has a king. He's going to move all in here for 300. And look, this guy here, I mean, he's committed a lot of his stack to this hand.
Mm-hmm.
He only has maybe, I want to say, maybe 150 left. You know, with the king, he would have obviously called, and he doesn't have any part of it, and he folds.
I had a king.
And he shows the 8.
Wow.
I need a card higher than a 6.
My king is no good.
And there it is. Take a look at the yellow chips, which are $5 chips, and the blue chips are $1 chips. We're here live at the bike. We stream cash games every Monday through Friday from 6 to 9 Pacific time. You can join us tomorrow night for our $5,100 no-limit hold'em game, most likely featuring Phil Locke and some other players that people would most likely recognize. You can also go to the Bikes Play for Free website at www.thebike.com. Play in a free roll sit and go and earn a promotional $1 and play David Tuckman in a $300 free roll tournament tomorrow starting at 5 p.m. Pacific time. $200 bounty on his head and a $100 prize pool for the winners of the tournament. Now we had a raise here by seat number 2 to 35. He's got king jack offsuit. Seat 5 is going to call with an ace-10 offsuit. Seat 7 is going to call with pocket 5s. And Eric had made a limp there with the double gapper suited connector. And let's see if he comes in here with the 6-3 of hearts. He's going to fold.
3 players.
3-way action. Josh, the pre-flop raiser. And Richard's hit top pair here. And he's going to bet right out here with the ace-10. And this is probably going to go fold, I would imagine. Benji's letting go of pocket 5s. And Josh has folded the king jack. Looks like Josh has got a Cal State Northridge golf team shirt on there, over there in C2. CSUN. CSUN. Cal State Northridge.
Oh.
Golf team. There it is. People might be familiar with Cal State Northridge because their basketball team is actually Division I, and they're in one of the small conferences. And usually, like if they win their tournament, their conference tournament, you know, they'll get into the NCAA tournament as like a 16 or a 15 seed, and then have to go and play like Duke and get crushed in the first round. But I think that they lost their conference title game last year. And
Finally.
Yeah, Garland's got pocket queens. He's going to raise it up to 20. There was some controversy about them, I think, 2 years ago in their conference championship game where they got shafted by the referees. I don't remember the exact specifics, but it made national news. Got a couple of callers here.
He hasn't played a hand, and he's getting called by, I mean, even
he
King
only raised
Deuce.
up to 20s.
He gets called by King Deuce.
King 10-9 here. George's got a pair and a straight draw. Garland's got the queen of diamonds. And look at this, Bensie's going to come out and bet because he's got the best hand. He's got king
top
deuce.
pair.
He bets 45.
Same thing setting?
Yeah, the mushroom's pretty good.
Well, let's see what George is going to do here with the jack 10. He's got a couple people to act after him, and plus the pre-flop raiser. Now, how is Garland going to play it?
He said I call.
He can't necessarily be real comfortable with king deuce here, especially when the pre-flop raiser calls in position. Garland's got a straight draw, turns a 10 of diamonds, and now Garland picks up a diamond draw.
100.
Nubenzi's going to fire again. He's going to fire 100. George would have made trip 10s.
Yeah, you're right.
Like a reverse bobblehead. That's a great idea.
Garland's done with it. Yeah, you wonder how you
Garland had
ever...
the gut shot straight flush draw there.
Yeah,
The jack of diamonds.
You wonder, and Benzie shows the king. The river card's a 7 of diamonds. Garland would have got there with the flush. You wonder how Garland raises it up to, I think it was 20 or 25. How do you call with king deuce against that guy?
That's what I'm
against
saying.
that one guy that's on the table that hasn't played a hand.
He hasn't played a hand.
I mean, I say that, and I wonder, maybe most people that play this game just don't pay attention really to a lot of
I
the
don't
action
think
when
they
they're
do.
not in
I think
hands.
that a lot of players that play it, it's just about them. What they have, what they've been doing, if they're winning, if they're losing, not really what's going on around the table.
Megalomaniac, is that the word for it?
What's it called?
All about me,
Oh.
self-centered ego. I know I feel like that sometimes in limit hold. I'm not paying attention all. I know all the players so well. It's just you know,
Right.
it's almost like you're on autopilot. Now C2's going to move all in here under the gun. Looks like maybe $90. He's got ace jack offsuit, and I really don't know about that move on this table because how on earth you?
He's only getting called by someone who has his butt kicked.
Yeah, pretty much.
Now this is the Philippine.
No one takes more risks than I do.
And everyone's folded around Eric. We can't see Eric's cards.
No,
See
but I
one.
don't think he's going to.
Looks like he's got jack
He
9
should.
or something.
Jack 10, I think.
Jack 10. Yeah, he hasn't folded yet. He's dominated. He would be in trouble if he
He's
made the
done.
call. Boston Red Sox hat, Cal State Northridge golf team shirt. Interesting combination.
Do you golf? Oh, you do golf.
Yay! You wanted to call it.
Buttons moved over here to seat 8.
I had 2 uppercards.
You know, I'm an only child, so I've been called megalomaniac, many times. Isaac nodded at me. I assume I'm using the right term. I think that means super into your own self.
I think he's nodding saying, that's you. Yeah, you're right. That's you.
$20 raise here by seat 4, King 10 of hearts.
I don't mind a check flop. I called it 6.
And Ubenzi's going to smooth call here with ace king.
Yes. But I induced a bluff. You throw $40.
3 more, right?
You know, against Garland, I actually might, ace king is a drawing hand, and oftentimes I'll smooth call, but I might put the pressure on him and re-raise with ace king, but he chooses
Because
to play
he
it
will make
slow.
play downs, yeah.
We just see where he's at, what he's got, and
Oh,
wow, what a flop
huge
for
flop.
Garland. Top pair flush draw, but Ubenzi's got ace king. $60 pot. This is going to be an interesting one.
Mm-hmm.
Hands have been something to write home about, but they're all interested.
Garland's going to bet. He's going to bet 50. Let's see what Ubenzi does here.
I would imagine with 2 hearts out there, he's going to put in a big raise right now.
And Garland's
Make it
hand is
like
pretty much
150.
big enough to move. He's going to make it 125 total. So let's see what Garland's going to do here. So it's a 75 more. And again, usually people at this level, from what I've seen of Ubenzi tonight, I can't imagine that. And look at this, Garland moves all in. I think Ubenzi's going to call.
That's logical, yeah.
I think he's going to call here. From what I've seen, maybe a more advanced player might lay it down. Let's see how much more it is.
They're calling him Johnny Chan. I mean, the guy hasn't played a hand.
230 more, it looks like here.
330,
Oh,
I think.
330. Okay, 330 more. The pot now, I want to say, is about $700. It's 330 to call. Garland's got top pair in the flush draw. Ubenzi's got ace king. It's about a $700 pot, 330 to call. Ubenzi is getting about 2 to 1. Now the funny thing here, though, absolutely, if you're getting 2 to 1, you're favored here with ace king. You know, it's not like Garland has a different pair with a flush draw. You have ace king, so you've got the top pair. So Garland needs to catch a heart or a 10, and he's going to make the call. So here we go. Turn is a 6. Garland needs a 10 or a heart, and the river's a jack, and ace king's going to take it all. There it is, over $1,000 pot. It's going to be the biggest pot of the night. And I'm not saying that I would have made that call. I said if you saw Garland's cards, you would make the call. Obviously, you got to take into account that he hasn't played a
And he
hand.
hasn't played any hands,
Yeah.
yeah. And you can't fault Garland for that. I mean, I would have made the same exact play.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think he played the hand fine. Again, it's kind of the nature of this game, especially players at this level. You know, and I don't even know. I mean, if you're getting 2 to 1, there are other hands that he could have. Surely, the only thing you're really scared of there is aces, right? I mean, it's very unlikely that the guy's got a set of kings if you've got ace king.
Well, I mean,
know.
if he's free rolling on you, if he had the free
Ace
roll,
king
the
of
ace
hearts.
king with hearts, yeah.
Yeah, well, then you'd be in trouble. But
Yeah,
I mean,
you would.
again, you got to take a look at the range of hands. That's one hand out of all the possible combinations he could have. That's
you
very
think-
unlikely, too.
Right. Well, I mean, there's always those other hands, set maybe, stuff like that. I don't know.
I understand.
I
The guy was getting about 2-1 on his money.
and it's almost a no-brainer call, except for the fact if you take into consideration that Garland hasn't played a hand. That's where you have to think, like, I know I have ace king here, I have top pair, top kicker, but this guy hasn't played a hand, this guy hasn't made a move. It might be right to lay this down.
Well, again, and if you put him on a king with the flush draw, as long as it's not ace king, then it's definitely the right call if you have ace king, because you are favored and you're getting 2-1 on your money in the pot. So ace 3-7 here on the flop with a couple of diamonds.
But then I think it goes back to what I said earlier. People don't pay attention to what the other players are doing, or it's all about them. And I think it was more for seat 7. Vinzi. For him, it was really about what he had.
Look at this.
I have top pair, top kicker.
Garland's going to come out and bet here on the turn with a flush draw. And David's picked up a flush draw. He has a pair and a straight draw.
And a straight draw.
And let's see if he's going to raise here.
Because the flop was checked, right?
Yep, it was checked
That's
around.
what I thought.
And he is going to raise. He's going to make it 75. So he's made a little bit of a mini raise here. And I assume Garland rebought for 500. And Garland quickly folds, so nice. Well, I guess Dave might have thought it was a semi-bluff. He actually has the best hand here with the pair of threes. And the river was an offsuit 10. So Garland actually would have made the best hand.
He would have made it.
But he quickly folds.
It's $1 at 127. And every time I get stopped out, I put a new short position. Get stopped out, new short position. It's now trading at 120.
Got about an hour left.
$300,000 or something. Huh?
Swedish krona.
The Swedish krona doesn't exist anymore, Tuckman. Doesn't it change to the euro? Only those people in England still use their own paper currency. I believe. I think they still use pounds. Yeah.
Switzerland and Sweden.
I was over there, Shirley, back when they were debating that. I actually had was actually an intern at Parliament for one of the conservative PMs.
You did?
All the conservatives, all didn't want to join the European Union. Well, they didn't want to give up their currency. And the way that the European Union was laid out was, well, if you don't change the euro, you're not a member. You're not one of the, I forget what they call the main members of the EU. We got a $15 bet here by seat 8. It's actually by seat 7. Seat 8 called with King Jack clubs.
It was at 177. But last week everything.
Here we go to the turn. Turn's a jack. I don't know what George is doing there on the flop, but he spiked the best hand here. And Nubenzi checks.
175 right now.
And George is going to bet. Could you say that maybe George called the flop with the intention of raising the turn if he picked up a club draw? Something like that? Or he picked up he's got 2 overs. If he hits his overs or if it's a club draw, he raises the turn or bets the turn if he gets checked over. I don't know. I mean, that's thinking,
The economy's weakening, that's what I think.
way in advance. Deep. But he did have the best hand there with King Jack.
Economy's okay.
Well, of course, I have to pack because I'm heading out of here on Saturday. It takes me about 3
Oh,
days
that's
to
right, to
pack.
go back home. Takes you that long to pack?
I don't know how to fold clothes, I'll be honest with you. It's just an absolute nightmare for me to try to pack. I always put it off. I don't want to do it. I do it over the course of about a week, a little bit here and there. Pocket Jack's here for seat 5. He's in the small blind. That's
He's
Richard.
trading currency. He's trading.
Isn't that like an inherent female trait that you just automatically know how to fold clothes well where they don't wrinkle?
I don't know. Maybe.
You don't know how to do that?
No, I mean, I know how to fold.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
It takes me a
But
whole
did
15 minutes to
Did
pack.
anybody
and-
teach you how to do that? It was just something that you had at birth, right?
Well, I don't know if I had it at birth, but I don't think anyone really taught me. It just,
Right. Richard raised here with Pocket Jacks, and he's going to take it down there without seeing the flop.
Cafe's open 8 o'clock, which is nighttime here.
Actually, you know, someone told me, and someone tried to teach me how, if you're actually really, I learned this from a couple backpackers when I lived in Europe. If you're really tight for space, and a great way to put clothes in your bag and not have them wrinkled and have them and really maximize all your space is actually to roll your clothes.
Roll them.
So like fold it and then roll it. It takes up the least amount of space and it actually doesn't wrinkle your clothes.
Right.
Is that true?
Yes.
Yeah. So you roll your clothes?
No, some things I do, but no. I can usually get my stuff in a bag. I'm not one of those heavy girl type of travelers. You know, one bag and...
Oh, really?
Yeah.
$35 raise here by the button. He's got king, queen offsuit. It's Richard. Looks like he's going to take it down there.
Before they came out?
No, they were out already. They were out, but it was, a year and a half.
Actually, you know, of course I can't iron that well, but in the new apartment that I moved in, my best friend is the dryer. Because if I've got something that's wrinkled, I just throw it in the dryer. Our dryer costs 25 cents.
It's worth the 25 cents?
Absolutely.
Well, let me tell you about a new trick. Spray bottle.
Just of water?
You put water, you spray, you shake out your shirt, and it's good.
Doesn't need to have heat at all?
No, nope. You just do that and shake it, and I guarantee it'll get most of your wrinkles out of it. Like
actually, it's
T-shirts
funny.
and stuff, which is what we wear.
I used to buy a product called
Aces.
Yeah, we got a raise here.
He had Jacks, and now he has Aces. This is seat 5.
And let's see if he's going to re-raise.
And he does.
He's going to make it 65.
The latest one I'm waiting to go up is...
Let's see if King Queen is going to call here out of position.
Hellier, MRH.
Does again.
Because it got hammered, and I actually got in
40 more.
So it's 40 more here to Eric, and if he makes this call and catches top pair, he's going to get into big trouble.
There's less competition now, and I'm waiting for like second quarter.
He's going to call here, Shirley.
Next year, he's going to zoom.
Here we go. But $130 pot heads up, and these are the types of hands that give you nightmares. So he's flopped an open-ended straight draw here, Jack 6-10. And Richard's going to bet 100 with the overpair. That's a little under the size of the pot. Let's see what Eric is going to do here.
Open and straight draw, 2 overs.
I mean, some people might even make a check raise here. But against these players that have played it relatively passive, I don't know if that guy would have fired in with nothing. $100 on the flop. And this is what I'm saying, the nature of this game. If Eric check raises here to something big, or check raises all in, is Richard expected or not expected to make the call with about 400 left with aces? That's the issue. You know, and that's the issue of kind of these restricted buying games. Most people don't. And I'm not even saying if it's correct not to. Because for 400 more, he could be doing this with so many other things.
Right. But I mean, I think you still have to kind of put a read on the situation and go with what your read is. I mean, even if you're getting right pot odds, and I've said this before, if you know or are pretty certain that the guy has a certain hand, like say that he puts him on a set of jacks and it's that much more, then you make the laydown. Right. You know? Okay, so we see it was a jack and an 8 on the turn in river, so he would not have got there.
So SP Surf and Michael.
And he's a psychotherapist. I think that's the name.
Yeah. He says Dave. Well, this is Bart.
Yeah, there's a Bart.
The word you're looking for is narcissistic. There you go. This is a diagnosis of someone who is self-centered and egotistical.
I prefer a
there you go.
than a hand shuffle.
How did we get into this conversation anyways? Who were we calling narcissists?
Well, you were talking about somebody being
Right, no, I know, but who were we talking about way in the beginning?
We talked about you, but it was someone before that.
I can't remember
was it George?
now. Oh, it was people, yeah, that's right. It's people that don't care or aren't paying attention about other people's hands.
Oh, right, it's all about you.
There's another new term that we're going to invent on Live at the Pike. Do not play narcissistic poker. There we go. Pocket aces here over in seat 4.
And pocket 9s for George. Well, let's see if this poor guy can win a pot. I told you I played with him earlier. He got kings in against queens pre-flop, all his chips, and lost.
Notice how Garland actually raises the same amount regardless of what his hand is. Pre-flop, 4 times the big blind. You know, going with that Barry Greenstein school of thought.
Right.
Your bluffs, your good hands, your semi-bluffs, all the same bet, so no one can pick up tells on you. George is just going to smooth call. David called with the jack 10, and I'm sure he's not looking to hit a jack here.
No.
Or a 10. Now Eric's going to
call.
call.
And they're all in.
Let's go.
So we get an $80 pot here. Here we go to the flop. Garland's got the overpair. Queen, queen, 7. Well, aces are good right now. Now, Mike
aces
George
are
think
still
he's going to
good.
get involved, though. Pocket 9s is not a really horrible flop.
No,
I'm
no.
only doing it because we're counterfeiting the jackpot.
But I was telling you, Garland got his kings cracked against queens, and he got his 10s cracked against 6s when all his money went in on the flop.
He's going to bet 60 here.
I don't think I've seen him win a hand.
Well, again, this is another one of those spots here with George. He's got pocket 9s. He's looking at overcards, but they're paired. Less likely for anyone to have a queen. If he gets folded around to him, how's he going to play it?
And I would think that against David, he should make this call. Against Garland, he should muck this hand. Not even again necessarily against David.
Well,
he
he's gonna
should
call.
make the call, but
And what is... And
it
Eric's
would
gonna
be more
fold.
logical.
So Garland is in a really, really good shape here.
Yeah. I mean, it's not a bad call. You would think your 9s are okay, but
Turns an 8. Well, this is going to be interesting how this hand plays out. And George is going to come out and bet here. He's going to come out and bet. He's check called the flop, and he's going to bet the turn. And he's going to put Garland to the test here with aces. And this is a really, really interesting hand here, folks. Probably the most interesting hand that we've had all night, I think, in terms of how to play this and strategy.
Oh, last time you did that, man.
George is going to come out and bet 150.
No, I put the money out there now.
150 here. And that basically, the pot before this street,
look at him rubbing the bunny.
he's betting 150 into a $200 pot, and Garland folds. He bet $150 into a $200 pot, and Garland folds. Well, Garland, you know, he watches this show a lot. He knows about George.
Uh-huh.
It was, boy, that's one I'd love to hear what people think about the strategy of that one.
Wow. And George said, I know I had the best hand there. So I'm surprised. Like I said, I mean, you can't muck your hand automatically when you have, you know, when it's a queen-queen board. You would think that your hand's probably good, but like I said, Garland hasn't played any hands.
Well,
But then again, he has...
You can sometimes use your power of position also, I think, and actually make a call there on the turn.
Or
Make
the
a-
power of knowing that Garland is a pretty, you know, solid player and is capable of making laydowns, unlike a lot of other
No,
players.
but what I'm saying is that if you're Garland, maybe you can call there on the turn and
Oh,
see what George does
see
on
what
the
he does
river.
on the river,
Yeah.
right.
But although, you know, before tonight I would have said George is probably just going to shut down the river, but now, you know, if you're
He's
going
been firing.
if you're going to call on the turn, George probably's got to put you on at least something that beats him, right? Jacks, 10s, even kings or aces. So you wonder if George thinks he's got to bet the river to win the hand if you just call on the turn. It was really an interesting hand. Now we had a raise here by Richard with king jack of clubs, and George is going to call here with ace rag. Here we go to the flop. George has got a wheel draw. He's still good here with ace high. He's out of position. And actually, excuse me, George is in position. I'm sorry, he's on the button. So he smooth called Richard's raise with ace deuce offsuit. And you would think that he's going to bet this flop. And he is. I mean, if he's going to play it this way, he's obviously not necessarily playing the value of ace deuce, but he's playing against a tight player in position. Richard did not fire on the flop. George has bet 50. And Richard called.
Yeah.
Wow, turns a 7. Richard checks. And look at this. George is going to check right behind him. And the river is a 3 here, and Richard's got to bet this if he's going to win. And ace high is just going to take it down there. Wow. Ace deuce offsuit wins. Unbelievable. There it is.
I don't know.
So, have you been playing a lot of tournaments lately, or are you gearing up for the that big
I'm
tournament?
waiting for the classic. I'm so
Coming up
excited
at that
about the
other
classic.
casino?
Oh yeah, I'm.
How many Omaha events are there?
There's 2 Omaha events
There's only
and
2
2
Omaha
and 2 no limit hold and shootout. So I'm playing all 4 of those for sure, and then I'm probably playing another 4 no limit.
Do you enjoy the shootouts more than the regular?
Than the regular
tournaments?
no limit, yes.
Yeah?
Yes. I'm suited for short-handed no limit play.
Did you play the 6 Max tournament at the World Series?
No, I played the 6 Max just recently at the circuit event.
Yeah.
And I actually got down to, we started with 124 players. I got down to like 20th place or something like that.
Built it back up.
Mark ended up moving to my table and knocking me out. So
5-way action here. Lived around.
nice buddy of mine.
Ace 5 ace here with a couple.
And he
clubs.
made the final
This might
table.
get a little action here.
You think?
Looks like Garland has the. Oh, actually, Josh has got the best hand in pocket sixes. Turns a queen. Sixes are still good. Actually, Eric's picked up
Eric
queen
now
on the
has
button.
the best hand.
I'm not calling too much.
But next year at the World Series, I'll probably play shorthanded.
All right, here. I'll risk that.
And we got a $20 bet here on the button by Eric.
You're absolutely not.
I'm blind, man.
And again, this table is pretty tight passive. You can notice how Tuckman's just kind of laid back right now. He hasn't really gotten anything.
Here it is.
George made the call with King Jack. The river's a 5. Check, check, and queen is good.
Please.
I call 100 here, maybe 150. I'm dead right here. I got it. Can you check that down?
So Eric has done a little bit pretty well for himself tonight as well.
They busted out. There's a
Hey,
seat
what
open.
happened, man? What happened? Seat open.
Oh, he's still in. He's still in. Oh, he left.
He's on the tournament.
Oh, he's in the What's that? 20?
Well, a megalomania, so says, or a megalomaniac, so says SP Surfer Michael, is a person that falls under that has a delusional disorder that's manifested by infantile feelings of personal omnipotence and grandeur. Wow. Do you sometimes have delusions of grandeur, Shirley?
Why is he saying Dave Mack? He's just joking around
No, there
with
was
you?
a guy that.
Oh, okay, because earlier when he said Dave, then it wasn't
Right,
really
right.
you addressing you, Bart. It was saying Dave, somebody else on the thread. Oh, got it.
Number 15. Chop, chop.
And I think that guy, SP Surf and Michael, is he a psychiatrist or a psychologist?
Didn't I just say that?
Yeah.
But I don't think it's a psychologist.
Yeah.
It's
20s don't play.
something else.
So Teichmann's gone up still. He's up to 1,700. He's up 1,200 for the night. Benzie's up, too. He made that big call against Garland with the ace-king. And Garland's the big loser at the table. He's down at least $600.
$600,
Yeah.
right.
I don't know what he's... Can't remember what he exactly started at.
I think he bought
show.
5 and then he bought another 5.
But I got rewarded with it. I just got a great call.
Eric's got 800 there.
Makes my Christmas.
Lived around here.
So the website poker ain't happening anymore?
I don't do it. I don't do it anymore. Oh, me? Not too often.
Here we go, 5-way
No, I
action.
mean like to be on the site.
Oh, it's really easy.
Is it really?
Jack, Queen, Jack. Looks like Josh in C2 has the best hand here
Our
with
software
King,
company
Jack.
does warehouse management and supply chain management. So, well, I'm checking. So we, something like poker sites with.
Josh is going to bet here. He's got trip jacks. He's going to bet right in here.
The problem is
He bets 30.
the legal costs would be more than the development costs.
I don't think he's
And
going
the
to get
marketing
called by
costs
anyone.
are-
He's not going to get called by
It's all about marketing. I have a battery.
And he
company
takes it
selling
down. He
products.
goes on to the next hand. Did you ever try your hand at golf?
No, I haven't.
No?
No, I was going
No-
to say
no
that.
interesting?
It just doesn't seem interesting to me. I mean, I think that there could probably only be.
Mini golf, though. He's mini golf.
I think Phil Ivey could get me out there, but other than that, that's about it.
Only if he gives you 100-to-1 odds and a 50-yard
No,
chip
just
shot.
because I just adore him. He's just so awesome. You know,
I don't
such
think he's
a
that
great
really that
guy.
great of a
That
golfer, though.
no, but I would enjoy going just for the fun of it. You know, to hang out with Phil.
You got a little hidden crush on Phil Ivey, don't you?
I don't. You're not the first person that said that, but no.
Well, he's
Kinda-
happily married with kids,
Yes,
isn't he?
yes. Well, I don't know if he has kids, but
Oh, man, I don't know.
it's
C2's
funny
going to bring
because
this one in for 35 with Ace King on hearts.
Ace King. I'll tell you a story about that
Whoever
after.
touches it is the guy in the warehouse. Nobody ever touches it. except
Tuckman's
the
got
guy.
Queen 9 offsuit in the small blind. C2 is not that deep. He's not going to play. And we're not going to see a flop here again.
Probably $2 or $3.
We are going to have a new player coming into the game. So go on.
That I was at Steve's house and we were looking up some name and we saw some results from the Classic where Phil had won, and it was a few years ago before poker hit the boom. I think it was when I was still working at another casino, you know. And I said, "Oh, look at Phil. That was, you know, before Phil was Phil."
Yeah.
And I said, and I loved him back then. Just something when I met him, I just adored him. You know, before he even, and he's just grown even so much as a person since the first day that I met him. You know, he's really kind of coming out of his shell. He was so shy before, and he probably still is, but he's doing a lot better dealing with the people and stuff. And such an awesome player.
Wait a second. FastLove.com.
Josh is going to open here with Ace Queen.
It's hilarious.
35.
He's got the world's largest database of hookers.
Seat 2. And again, this table has really turned really tight now. I don't think we're going to see a flop here again from what I can see out there.
For the rest of the night.
New player there in seat 3.
And I'm not familiar with him. Have you seen him before?
Is that John Voorhouse?
He's got his medical.
Yeah, that's John Voorhouse, the writer.
Oh,
remember,
what do you know?
Remember when he made that ridiculous laydown with 2 pair against
I was
Nicole?
not in here.
Oh, you weren't?
No.
Oh, my goodness. Voorhouse is going to come down. Is he going to make the Ace-10 2-pair laydown to a check raise of Ace-3? See if he can play some Voorhouse poker. He's got the ultimate bet shirt on. It's always fun to get him in the game and rag on him.
Well, doesn't he have some kind of book that
Yeah.
kind of contradicted the way that he played?
Yeah.
What's the name of the book?
I don't know. I don't remember the name.
But
and he also writes for card players sometimes, doesn't he, too? I mean, somebody can help me out there. But he definitely made an absolutely horrid laydown when last time he was on the show.
On a porn site, 1 out of every 50 to 100,000 users looking at it. But they'll have much
Button's going to move over there to seat 7. And Dave's going to raise it up here in position. He's going to raise it up to 20. He's got 3-5 suited. And some people might say, why is he doing this? Well, look at the nature of the table. He's trying to play his game, attacking Ubenzi and George, who are, you know, if they miss the flop, maybe David can take it down with a bet. Although Dave's dominated here with spades. King Jack 8 here. Ubenzi's got second pair. Not a great flop for David, obviously.
No, but I mean, if he puts out a strong pot-sized bet, he might be able to pick it up. But nobody has the king.
Well, David did not buy the button because Ubenzi called him behind him on the button. And David's
right, so
here. He's going to bet 60. And Ubenzi's going to call, so let's see if David shuts down here on the turn. We're heads up. Interesting to see if an ace comes out here, if David can fire and actually take it down. Well, the turn's an 8. And now Dave's trying to figure out, what is this guy calling me with here? Looking at him. He's going to check. And Ubenzi's going to check right behind him. And the river is an ace. And can David use this as a scare card, or is he just going to give up?
I don't think he's going to give up.
I don't
because
think
he checked. Yeah, because Ubenzi checked on the turn.
He's going to bet.
It looks like a strong bet.
Yeah, he's going to bet 150.
150.
Yeah, he's not. That's a great bet by David. You know, he's not going to bet a kind of a pussy amount, even if he gets called. How many times do we see, Shirley, somebody make a bluff on the river and they bet
and it's not enough.
a fifth of the size of the pot? He's going to make what looks to be like almost a pot-sized bet here at the end. And Ubenzi's trying to figure out, and I wanted to see if an ace could come, if he could use it as a scare card. And he's bet 150 here. The only problem for David is the guy could have had an ace-high flush draw, but we can see he doesn't. He has third pair now.
Oh, and it looks like he's going to make a call.
He hasn't done anything yet. Oh, there it is.
Ay,
He's
yeah.
going to make a call.
Wow, well, it was a nice attempt by David, but didn't work.
But meanwhile, they said we didn't order it, so we're out, shipment.
Well, David's actually going to turn his cards over anyway, so he can see, so the guy can see. He can see what the guy called him with, get himself some information there. Let's call the Queen Jack there. I mean, that's the funny thing is, though, and I'm not going to give Ubenzi credit. If you know how Dave plays, that's actually not the worst call in the world against the river. But against somebody that you don't know, I don't necessarily know if I
and
make
you don't
that
think
call.
Ubenzi has been playing with David long enough to be able to justify the fact that it was probably a good call. David could be making a move here.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't give him that credit, no. Do you?
I wonder. No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
I think once again, is just more. I have a pair here. I'm calling.
Narcissist.
Do you think that if David had bet $200, he might have won that pot? I thought it was a strong. It was a strong enough bet.
Well, it's a case for me. You make a strong enough bet by risking the least amount.
The
now,
least amount that you can make, yeah.
Bet $50 into a $400 pot,
right?
Because you're risking a small amount, but you're not going to bluff someone out of the pot with that.
But
if you can bluff somebody out of a $400 pot with a $250 bet as opposed to a $400.
Mm-hmm.
George raised here pre-flop with King Queen.
Or somebody can duplicate you for less.
And actually, I think George re-raised Ubenzi. Ubenzi's in the hand. We can't see what he has.
Yeah, Ubenzi is just worried about stacking his chips.
Ace Jack 3 here with a couple clubs on the flop. Ubenzi's got 8-7 offsuit. Wow. And George gets checked over to George, and he's going to bet. And I think that he actually re-raised a razor on the flop. He's bet 75 here. Pretty tough call for Richard to make here with King 3 against a re-raiser.
Yeah.
George has got a gut shot here, and it looks like he's going to take
Probably
it.
the best hand there, too.
Definitely have me.
Look at this part of it.
Of course, in Ubenzi's defense, the way that Dave played the hand
I like it.
by checking,
It could have been a
and
flush
then
draw.
and then Ubenzi checking behind him, like we always say, Ubenzi has inherently induced that bluff. The only problem is you really can get scared. You really can be, frightened to call if you induce a bluff and a mega scare card comes out like an ace. But I know Dave's game well enough there where if he's going to raise in the cutoff, it doesn't necessarily mean he has an ace or any type of strong hand. In that case, you get 3-5 of spades.
You can't just go on Google and type in poker at the top of it. You have to really, really define it.
Buttons in seat 1 right there. Couple limpers here. And we are going to see a flop here. Four-way action here. Whorehouse is in the pot in C3, and he's got an open-ended straight draw. Barhouse, excuse me, I'm sorry.
What did you say?
Nothing. Ace comes out at the
Did
turn.
you say whorehouse?
Richard's going to bet here with ace deuce. That was actually just a little slip. I did not do that on purpose.
Everyone caught it
takes it
except
down.
you. I'm sitting here laughing at this little post right here.
It would be such a bad call.
Richard takes it down with the ace deuce.
Some idiot who made a bad play.
Button's going to move over there to seat 2.
And while that is the strength of my game,
So I was laughing here on one of the emails. They also gave you a definition of megalomaniac. It says a pathological egotist. Example,
There you go.
Phil Hellmuth.
Yeah.
But I just kind of like the part that he puts in Phil Hellmuth.
Well, it is definitely probably all about Phil. That's.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Got that bunch of time.
But it's about him in a different way. I'm sure he's paying attention to the table. He's just self-centered, meaning everything. You know, I don't think he's so involved with himself that he's not paying attention to how other people play. Limped around here. Garland, he's got an ace-10.
He has to pay attention to the way other people play. That way you can give him a hard time, saying you're the worst player in the world.
Right.
You called with that. What's wrong with you?
Josh is going to bet here with a gut shot.
Well, you can program it to be, to be real creative.
Garland folds. Garland is playing extremely tight. I think that's a really tight on the turn fold there when he had aces against queens. I think you have to almost at least call.
Yeah, the more that I was thinking about it. I mean, well, especially for the fact that would George do that? Would he fire out with the queen? The board was queen.
Maybe Garland just got him in his head that on the
Queen
flop,
seven.
he's trying to think, what does George call me with on the flop? Would he call me with on the flop? And maybe it just never registered in his head that he could have had something like pocket nine.
Another pocket pair.
Yeah, something like that. Although if you saw what the turn was, it's just one more hand that can beat him, because if he had pocket eights, he would have filled up on the turn. We've got an ace king of hearts here in seat 2. King 10 of clubs there. George is going to limp it.
Oh, that is, I have no doubt. Yeah, I know that.
George, excuse me, Josh is going to raise it up here. He's going to make it 40 to go.
Do you think it's hard to get 100,000 credit cards? 40.
Richard's got ace 9 of spades. He's going to make the call out of position.
Ever since you had that rabbit, your game's changed a little bit here.
Game's changing up. Game hasn't changed much.
And here we go to the flop here. Queen 4-3. Well, Richard's got the nut flush draw, and Josh has got overcards.
Josh has the best hand, but he doesn't have a pair. He has ace high.
And he's going to bet.
He's going to fire.
He bet 60.
60.
Really?
And once again, we're seeing players call, just flat call with the ace high flush draw rather than putting in a raise.
Turns at 9, and now Richard's hand. He's got a pair now. He checks again. Oh, Josh is going to check right behind him. Josh needs an offsuit king here to win this hand. The river's a deuce. Josh is really drawing slim, and Richard's going to bet here. 200. 200 here. Wow. Plus 9. Okay.
And don't think the overbet's going to win in this one.
No.
It's not even really an overbet, is it? It's about a pot size bet.
A little over the size of the pot.
We both turn a boat and they river quads on me? Fuck out of here. 2 times? All right, once in your life. 2 times in a week?
But I really like a check raise there with the ace high spade draw.
I don't think he's going to get a call here from Josh. Although he's still thinking of how he's going to lay it down. And actually, in my defense, even though my producer was quickly to say in my ear, did you just call him Whorehouse? I said Harhouse because the reason why I said that was because Paul Harhouse was a tennis player. And that's, no, I'm serious.
It took you a long time to think of an excuse for that one.
I didn't say Whorehouse, I said Harhouse. I think it's Harhouse, actually. Paul Harhouse.
But I noticed
Yeah,
that
you guys can
I
play the
noticed that
tape.
it took you 10 minutes to
Play
think
the
of
tape
some
back.
kind of
Go ahead.
that was thinking of an excuse.
You guys can see my 5 years.
I get a lot of my information from that. It must be just by watching people. I'm not just betting because online, I don't know why
Limped around here. We get ace queen over there this time for Josh. He just lost the
See,
ace
too.
king.
Let's see if he puts in a raise here.
Paul Harhouse. And he's going to raise it up.
Is there any way
$40 raise.
I know what card you have?
Looks like he's in the cutoff. And George is going to make the call here with 6-7 offsuit out of position. Wow.
No, I'm pretty sure that the
Here we go to the flop.
that they've got that pretty much tied up.
Ace 10-3. Josh has got the top pair.
Supposedly there's spyware out there.
And now we're getting the emails and the posts, Dave, Shirley, about what the name of the book is. And it's Bankroll Killer Poker by John Marks.
Well, it's Killer Poker. Yeah.
Oh, that's right, Killer Poker. That was a play on his name.
Yes.
Yeah. Bankroll Killer Poker. Josh is going to bet here, and he's going to take down. Yeah, Killer Poker. And then, of course, people have a little fun with it, and they say Bankroll Killer Poker because of the way that he played last time on the show.
Yeah.
I could deal with that.
Geez, you know, there's just so much. I mean, I actually was in the Bikes gift shop yesterday, and usually I'm in and out of there because I usually get some those little Apple candy rings that I have. But this time I just, I wasn't playing. I was drinking some coffee, and I just turned around and I looked at the bookshelf, and there are just so many books out now. I wonder if any of these new books have any value. I mean, there's got to be like a website that rates all of these books, but
I actually thought about doing something like that for myself.
Trying to rate
I have
the
read, I have read some of the books.
you
I
probably haven't read like 10% of what's out there now.
Oh no,
It's
not at
crazy.
all.
Yeah.
But I have heard that Dan Harrington's books are amazing.
Yeah.
I haven't read those yet. I did read one that isn't even really poker strategy, which was the Stu Unger book.
Right.
That was unbelievable.
Well,
Fabulous book.
Barry Greenstein isn't necessarily exclusively poker strategy either. There's a lot of other stuff in there too.
I liked Barry's. The beginning part of it was more generic, the general kind of stuff. But the way that he analyzed his hands and the way that he played, said, well, I was thinking this on this street and that I really like that
Look
part
at this,
about
Dave's
Barry's book.
top 2 pair. He's going to bet 15. This was limped around and in the blinds. And these two went at it earlier. Dave bets 15 and Ubenzi calls. Imagine if a 10 were to come
And
out here.
Ubenzi did call him all the way down. I mean, called him
Turn to 7.
on the river with second pair. So
Dave's going to
Dave
come out.
can get money from this guy.
So you don't think
And he's going to bet again.
Dimitri was.
I don't think
people talking about it.
I don't think there's any.
And now, look at that. Ubenzi folds.
But this was almost the exact same situation. There were 2 diamonds. If Dave had checked there and put in a strong bet on the river, he might have got paid.
Like there's a higher propensity, a higher
Right?
percentage of good hands.
Because that was the exact same situation.
Well,
Larry Dinsey had second pair.
Yeah.
I mean, except for the fact that David actually had a hand this time.
I'm never going to down anybody for betting their hand.
I know
you're
that.
saying
I
check
know
raise
that.
there, but I mean, what if the guy's on a flush draw? Are you going to give him the free card there? But I know what I know what you mean also that, well, you can try to, make it seem like if he checks behind you, you're going to
play it
juice
the
the bluff.
identical way
Or
that
if
you
he
did last time.
Or if he bets, you can check raise him on the turn.
Oh, that's it?
I was actually thinking the same thing as that went through my head, but you know what? Dave's kind of he can play it fast though because he made a bluff at the guy the other time. So maybe the guy thinks that he's trying to do the same thing, trying to get back at him. You know what I mean? Ace Queen here for seat 4, Garland. Let's see if he raises it to 20, Shirley.
Every minute of the day.
It is a weaker hand, and he is in early position. He makes it a little bit bigger. He makes it, I think, 25. 30.
This time it's 30.
30. Okay.
It's okay. Once in a while, but I don't cash games.
No, you can't play cash.
I got down. It's too easy to collude.
Tuckman's talking about his reluctancy to play cash games online, and that's what I exclusively play.
Yeah.
So you have to really be creative. You have to be technically
They're creative, though.
You know, I mean, I don't know. I do well in it. I have no complaints. So.
I'm in the city of Burbank with a hotspot, right? How hard is it for me to
And if their friend is talking, he's talking about like people talking on the phone, I guess, to each other. But
Yeah.
I just say, two idiots talking on the phone are still two idiots. I mean, it's not going to help. It was real funny because a couple years ago when online poker first started, coming out, and I was playing in the 5-10 Omaha game, and there was some player that came and played in the Omaha tournament that I used to play with every once in a while, and he was talking about how he used to talk with his friend while he was playing, but then he was talking about how he's a losing player, and I'm thinking, that's exactly why if you're sitting there talking to your friend, especially in Omaha, I mean, it's not going to make them any better. They still make bad decisions. They're
I'm
still
a little
play
bit
poorly.
reluctant to play No Limit Hold'em, although I have online, just because I think you get more of a feel. You need to know your players and get more of a feel live. But Limit Hold'em, who the hell is going to be able to collude 5, 10, 10, 20 Limit Hold'em? The amount of effort you would have to really put in to do that, I just don't think it would be profitable.
No, I don't think so.
Garland raises to 25, pocket 10s.
And even if they have software,
Seat 5's called Ace Rad, Shirley. Ace 4 to Garland's raise. Seat 1 had limped with Ace 9, and he's in there. There we go, three-way action.
That's why you must never play
Jack
more than
4, 8.
recreational sums on the internet.
Not a bad flop for Garland. 1 overcard. It's a $75 pot.
Fun money.
See how much he bets here?
3 to 500.
Because you can be sure that if there's collusion going on,
Bet 60, a little under the size of the pot.
going on at the 1-2 table.
Richard's not going to get involved with the Ace 4.
It looks like he finally wins a hand.
Especially because those
There you
games
go.
are likely to be short-handed.
The game that I liked, I played the 30-60 stud high low game on Stars for a while. I just think it's so safe.
Well, there you hear the yapping going on the table. David's talking about that specific game. I had this conversation with him because, of course, we play a lot of stud high low. Well, there's a big stud high low game, and the biggest one on the internet is on PokerStars. And that one, it is a little bit. We actually had this discussion with Kathy Colbert before. Kathy used to play that game every day. That game, specifically stud high low, is very conducive to cheating and squeezing. It's almost like a pot limit Omaha high. And when you see the same players in there every single day, maybe you can think of a better game to play online for cash games. $25 raise here by Garland. Again, he's got Ace Queen again. This time C5's got Ace King. He's going to smooth call. King Jack is going to call over there in seat number 7. George is in there with Jack Deuce of Hearts. And a lot of these players are sharing the same cards. We've got King Jack over there in seat 2. He's going to call. $125 pot. Most of the kings and most of the jacks are out here. George in seat 8's got a Jack Deuce suited on the button. 9, 9, 6 with a couple spades. The flop has missed everyone.
I can't believe that Richard just
And it's
checked
gonna get
that.
checked
He has
around.
the ace king and the ace of spades.
Turn is a 4 of clubs. Now, let's see if Garland's going to put a bet
He's
out now.
gonna, he's going for it.
He bets 125 here.
125.
Yeah, I can't. Yeah, how does Richard check the ace king there?
I don't know.
You all done?
But Garland will go for it, and it looks like he'll probably take
Probably
this
going to take
down.
it down.
Nice little book.
I don't exactly know. I mean, I'm a fan of George's play, and obviously, you know, poker, the no limit hold'em is not all about pre-flop selection. But even if you have a few people in there and you're deep, what are you looking to hit with Jack Deuce? I mean, I know he's on the button.
Right.
Jack Deuce suited. What are you looking for? Flush?
You'll have to ask him because I wouldn't be playing Jack Deuce.
Yeah. I mean, I'm trying to figure out. Are you looking to hit trip deuces? Are you looking to hit trip jacks? Are you looking to hit a flush? We know
Are you
that
looking
if you
to
hit trip
outplay
jacks,
five?
you're
I mean,
good.
he's certainly
He
not
didn't
going
bet
to
the flop.
outplay 4 or
If he
whatever
bet the
it
flop,
was
he might have
opponent.
taken down. I mean, if you can make the case that, okay, I'm going to call on the button because I can outplay these guys. If he had bet on the flop, he would have won.
Right.
And I wouldn't be saying this because I'd be like, oh, now I understand why he's playing that hand.
Right.
Because he's just going to play his button. But if he doesn't do anything with it,
Mhm.
I don't know what the point is of playing it. Lamp here.
Hot thing.
Option. 6-3.
Six-way action. Which means it's about a $30 pot minus the drop and the jackpot. 10-5
And
deuce.
Dave has the best hand here, flopping the 10.
Got queen 10 of diamonds. He's going to bet.
25.
He's going to bet 25. Richard has a flush draw to David's immediate right. He checked it.
I tried that on the other hand. He wasn't a picture either.
And he is going to check call. We haven't seen him make any types of moves like check raise or draws. I wouldn't
No.
expect it now. He's got an overcard, turns a 3. Does that scare Dave at all? If the guy might have been on a straight draw? Well, he's going to bet 75.
I mean, in order for that to hit him, the guy has to have ace 4. So, I mean,
I'm sure
he
David
could have ace 4 spades.
I'm sure
but
David's not going to give him a free card. He's going to bet and find out where
Right.
this guy's at.
I'm going to get 75 of my chips back here. Okay.
Wow, and he's going to call.
He's
And it's-
calling,
I want to
wow.
see what happens here on the river if it's a non-connected card. Would Dave ever make a value bet here with queen 10? Or is it just too connected right now? Well, now the board pairs. I want to see if he's going to make a value bet here with queen 10. Obviously, he's not going to get called.
well, I mean,
But do you want to value bet mediocre hands and no limit hold'em and expose
it
yourself?
depends on what you put your opponent on. I mean, if he puts him on a
And
flush
he
draw,
checks,
he's
he
not,
checks
yeah,
right behind him.
he's not going to get a call.
Yeah. And again, I mean, you can pick your spots. Richard, we haven't seen him make a check raise all night. But I think it's a safe way, and I don't mind the check there by Dave. I mean, maybe you lose a little bit of value if the guy's calling you with a weak 10 like Jack 10 or 9-10, but mediocre hands. In limit, that's an automatic bet on the river, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I would definitely bet that limit on the river. But in no limit hold'em, I don't, he's going to check
I
behind
like
it.
the check there.
Yeah, it's not.
I mean, there was a possible straight draw on the flop, right?
Okay.
There was a possible flush draw. So he's not going to get called with either of those. I mean, the only thing he is going to get a value bet from is, like you said, a weak jack. But it's very possible. I mean, a weak 10, but it's very possible the other guy could have a king 10.
Well, yeah, you could just be behind right now.
Uh-huh.
Although the guy did not bet the flop, it was check to David, so that would be pretty
That's true.
weak to check.
King 10.
That's
Mhm.
fine.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, look.
C-Date's going to raise it up to 35. He's got pocket deuces. The Greek poker god, George Georgian. Cal State Northridge golfer Josh over there has got ace-jack suited. He's going to call.
You can lay down, then she don't need to do anything.
You're calling too?
Richard's in there.
Oh, shit about it.
Tuckman's got 8-5 of clubs.
Okay.
And he's going to call.
All right, Wanzi, you know what to do.
And George has got to hate his hand now.
That's a good thing right there.
A lot of cards he's going to need to dodge, and everything's going to be scary unless he hits a set. Queen 6-7 with a couple of hearts. Josh has got the nut flush draw here. Dave's open-ended. Tuckman's open-ended here. There's a couple of hearts. It gets checked over to George. Is he going to
Too bad
throw a
we
bet
can
in
see
here?
that Richard has 2 of his outs. Actually, the 4 hearts would be a bad card for him. Because it would give him the straight and Josh the flush.
Wow, Josh didn't bet there, Shirley. That's amazing. Turn is a 10. He picks up
And
a
he was on the
straight draw
button,
now.
too,
Yeah,
right?
wow.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
And now is Dave going to throw a little semi-bluff in here?
My breath back?
And he is. He's going to bet
Ooh,
125.
125.
That's a little under the size of the pot. And, George is just in a spot here where even if he thinks his hand's the best hand, he can't just call.
No.
There's just This is raise or fold here if he thinks Dave's full of crap. But you got 3 people behind you. You know Josh has got a big draw now. He's got a flush draw and
a straight draw. Well, we know that, but George doesn't know that.
This is going to be really funny. If Josh makes this call, well, that's almost
can
puts him
David
all in.
fire again?
Well, yeah, but it almost puts him all in, so it's a moot point. I was going to say, can David fire again and take it away from him? I mean, this basically, in essence, the pot's about 250. It's 125 to call here. Josh has a ton of outs, and he's actually leading when Richard probably is going to fold behind him if he calls. And he looks like he's going to fold. How passively can you play?
That is what it looks like, and yes, he does. Well, you know, he didn't take the lead on it, so.
And look at that, Dave is going to steal it again.
I don't mind the fold. I mind the check on the flop.
Look at this. The rabbit cam is an offsuit 9. Tuckman would have made straight. That's incredible. He would have made the straight, and it wouldn't have brought a flush. Unbelievable.
Still would have came.
Button's going to move over there, seat 3.
That was a really bad check.
We have about, maybe 15 minutes left.
I never show.
Maybe 4 or 5 hands left. Again, join us tomorrow night for 5,100 No Limit Hold'em with Phil Locke.
Hopefully, yeah, we'll have Phil. I was
Cross our
actually
fingers.
thinking, well, I was thinking I would probably call him after the show.
Why don't you do that?
I think I will.
Make yourself useful. God.
Oh, okay.
Maybe you can bring Jennifer down.
That would be fun.
She can come here in the booth.
And take my spot, huh, Bart? You trying to kick me out of the booth?
I've always actually liked Jennifer Tilly in movies. I really like her.
Well, one of my favorite movies is called, well, I don't even know. It's like not top 5 movie or anything, but a movie that I really enjoyed was called Bound. Did you see that?
I did, because there
That
was
was
a
a
great
really
nude
good-
scene in that movie.
Nude scene?
Yeah.
Too much.
There was, I'm telling
Yeah,
you.
I think,
believe me.
yeah.
Yeah. John's going to bet here. He raised it with ace-9. He bets the flop and he takes it
Was
down.
it her or was it Gina Gershwin that had that killer tattoo? I think it was.
They had like a lesbian scene in
They
that
had a
movie.
lesbian scene, and one of them had a tattoo on their thigh. It was a really cool tattoo, the way that it went down the side of her leg.
Yeah.
But I don't remember which one of the girls had it.
Yeah. Button's going to move over here to seat 4.
Live at the bike.
I just like Jennifer. I mean, she's obviously an actress, but her personality is so kind of refreshing and just effervescent. From the time, I mean, I've spoken with her 4 or 5 times just through the industry in Vegas, here when we were doing the WPT.
Uh-huh.
Very nice.
Are you guys selling advertising on there? A little bit, yeah. A little bit. It's not much though, huh? Yeah, well, I mean, we don't get that many hits.
Looks like we got ace king. Seat 7. And again, we are going to be rerunning during our dark period next week, Shirley, our TV show at the LA Poker Scene. We're going to be running it here. 2 episodes
really?
a night. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
You didn't know that?
I didn't know that. Remember, I'm only here 2 days a week.
Oh.
So I miss all the good stuff, and then I come back on Tuesday and find out about everything.
7-6-6 here with a couple of hearts. Turn is a 9.
I guarantee you I have the best hand, but I'm going to check it.
Checked around. Dave does not have the best hand here with 8 high. Now he does. Well, Richard's got a pair of 5s, but Dave made a straight, and he's going to bet it.
$11 I want it.
He's going to bet 15. You know, Benzie played the ace king real slow pre-flop.
Yeah.
He bet $15 with a straight here.
Good bet. Good bet.
So you guys are all going to get to see. Again, we are dark starting on Friday all the way up through New Year's, and then we come back on January 2nd. You guys are going to see 2 episodes a night of the LA Poker Scene, all edited and crisp. Where the weather is hot and the action is scorching.
I could never find
You wait 3 hand or you take the line? Wait 3 hand? Well, because it doesn't work that well.
I can do my intro just off the top of my head. Welcome to the LA Poker Scene, where top pros play with their own cash in one of the hottest casinos in the world. I'm Bart Hansen.
Am I supposed to take my spot? And I'm Shirley Rosario.
And I had all the bumpers in my head, too.
Yeah, I was lucky. Bart had to do all that stuff. I just had to come in and do chip count.
Fold it around here. And Dave Tuckman does not chop in No Limit. So it's Dave against seat 8, George. Deuce 7 and 9-3 offsuit.
Deuce 7, 9-3.
Yeah.
What about the 5-6? Someone with 5-6 folded a long time ago.
George been on the 3 there.
Really hard at generating any money.
And I do not chop in No Limit as well. That's a good idea.
Well, I think it is too, but like I said, I mean, I've told you this before. We'll do a chip count, then I'll tell you.
Well, Tuckman, he's up $1,200. Ubenzi's up a lot, too. And George is up.
George is doing better.
Who were the ones that were the big losers? I mean, Garland lost out.
Well,
I
it
guess
was
Josh
Garland, but he's made a little bit.
Slowly gone down. Maybe Eric's down, maybe 100. And Richard.
Well, I think all the money basically came from Peter.
Yeah.
That left, yeah.
About $1,000. They just kind of shuffled
was it
around.
1,000? I thought it was 1,500. I think it was 1,500.
Right, but we saw him lose 1,000. But I guess he was into the game 1,500. Flop comes out here. Queen 6-9. Couple spades. It was limped around.
So I was saying that I usually chop just because of the fact I work here. Just kind of good. I just want to keep good PR.
Right. Well, I do that in limit, but I think there's a lot to be made in No Limit, obviously.
Queen Jack showed me. He had to, so I called my dad. I would be more apt to try.
Eric's never betting on the flush draw here. Get checked around. The river is a 10.
And that gives Josh a straight.
Two
Oh,
people
and
have the
Richard.
nut straight. We might see some fireworks here at the end. Josh is
yeah,
bet.
fireworks so they could chop the pot.
He's going to bet 25. Let's see what Richard does here.
And Eric could have taken that pot on the flop.
He could have taken it on the turn as well. Richard's
Yeah.
going to raise to 100 here. And with the amount of money that Josh has, I assume he's just going to move the rest of his chips in. And they're going to get a call, and they're going to chop it up. I mean, you only got 100 left. What are you worried about, you know?
Right.
120 or so left. There it is. I move all in. Richard says, I call.
call.
If you got the full house, you got me. Oh, we got the same hand. Chop it up. Right? Haven't you seen that? Heard that stuff?
Yep.
Yep. There it is. And probably, we'll give you, when we come back on Monday, I'm trying to get it so that on the Tuesday that we are back from New Year's, January 3rd, that will be hopefully the night, either that week or the next week, hopefully will be the night that I would play Corporation Light.
Oh, and your heads up match.
Oh, new player here. Seat 3. John Borhaus.
He did,
played
yeah.
a little hit and run.
A hit and run? Did he win a hand?
Or I think he moved over to seat 7. Yeah, he did move to seat 7.
Oh, I was going to say, don't even remember him playing a hand unless I was in my own little...
And David Tuckman's got Pocket Kings. There it is, live at the bike. David and I
What
were
happened to the one
speculating.
with my picture?
Yeah, where are your boobs on the back of that thing?
Yeah, that was only on for one episode. I mean, one magazine. But it was a good one because it was during the World Series of Poker. I had people come up to me, is this you? Is this you? I know because my name was ahead of yours. It was my picture and your name was like at the bottom.
Okay,
huh?
Evelyn has my pictures now, so we won't have to worry about that.
But my picture is so much more appealing than yours. My boobs look so much better than yours.
Dave's going to raise here. Pocket Kings. He made it 35 to go. And look at George. He's going to call 3-4 offsuit. George really wants to bust Tuckman. Josh folds King 10.
That's never happened before.
And the guy limped in with Queen 8 offsuit. He's going to join the party. Wow. I mean, he's not.
I was going to say, the Queen 8 is only worth $5, which it's not.
Right.
Pre-flop, you can't call a raise.
So here we go, $75 pot going heads up. Kings against 3-4. Pretty good flop for Kings. Anytime a board pairs and you've got an overpair.
Let's bet $60.
Dave's going to bet 60. George is not going to get involved.
I'm still all in.
And
Dave
takes it down there again.
Yeah, I don't get that. Like, if he would have made that call, a lot of times I see that where a player will limp for $5. They decided that their hand was worth $5 pre-flop, and then someone raises to 40, and now all of a sudden, it's worth 35 more. Okay.
Well, again, and sometimes a lot of times, people on the thread, people email us like, why do these guys raise so much? But when you look at it, if you can raise to 50 and you're prop Tony, the Asian prop that plays in this game, that's so tight, and you in the 5-10 game you raise to 100 with pocket aces, you get 3 callers. That's why you do what you do for value.
Right.
You know, it's not.
If you're getting called.
Yeah.
What a scumbag. Mike Greenwell. If you know who that is, you're a boss.
Johnny Damon goes to the Yankees, and the Red Sox are really going to suck next year.
Oh, Tucker's just saying that pissed me off.
What is he saying?
He said the Red Sox are going to suck next year.
They need a leadoff guy.
Everything's going downhill from Boston.
Center fielder. Bernie Williams is done.
Dave says the Patriots suck. Actually, I don't think that's a Red Sox hat. It's like a Batman hat. Limped around here, 6-way action.
I don't think it's a Batman hat.
Queen 8-6 here. Looks like Richard in C5 has the best hand here with Queen Jack.
35.
He's going to bet 35. Now, Eric has top pair, but he's out-kicked. Is he going to get involved?
Kind of ruined the pattern.
Eric is going to make the call here with Queen 7.
Heads up.
We're heads up. Turn here is a jack, and now Richard's got top 2 pair. He's going to bet 100.
Go!
And can Eric really make this call here, Shirley? It seems like it's kind of getting worse and worse. Especially, who's the most passive guy we've seen? Have we been paying attention tonight? Probably on the table.
The passive guy on the table, well, I think you're probably thinking seat 5, but I'm thinking seat 2.
Well, I think you're correct in saying that seat 2 actually is the most passive guy. But I was thinking seat 5. Richard's pretty passive as well. I don't think he fires here again. I think he definitely has Queen 7 beat here.
They've seen you where you're at. They can still see where you're at.
Yeah, Josh made some serious missed semi-bluff bets throughout the night. I mean, that ace-jack card to him is just inexcusable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Craig.
Eric is still thinking here. It's $100 bet here. I mean, can't you pick your spots a little bit better? Wow.
Well, you can, but it looks like he's calling.
Unbelievable. And now if you're Queen Jack, you got to think, well, my hand's good now. What is this guy calling me with?
Right.
What's a safe card for me to value bet the river here with?
He's drawing dead.
Well, that might have made 5-7 straight. But he's going to move all in now. He's going to move all in. He's going to move all in for
200 and
$250.
change, yeah.
$250 into a pot. And look at this. He shows the queen face up. It's about $250 into about a $280 pot. The pot's about $530, $250 to call. And I think that actually Richard rightly put this guy on a weak queen because when he made that call with 5-7 with one card to come, that big of a bet there.
Right.
You know.
Well, the thing that's making me laugh here is, I mean, if Eric can't figure out that the guy has been playing passively and then he's fired twice, he has a strong hand. This bet on the river, right when he shrugs his shoulders, like, okay, I'll in.
Right.
I mean, that's a big giveaway.
He shows the queen.
He's got a hand. He does muck it.
Gets rid of it there.
I gave 60. Can you kill you on the turn? No. I gave you 60. Jack 8.
I don't make it personal usually.
Did you see Bride of Chucky?
No.
No. Jennifer Tilly was in that movie too.
Did you watch that?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah?
I love the Child's Play movies. See, the Child's Play series got turned into Chucky movies, but it was actually originally called
Child's Play, right. I did see the first one.
Yeah.
My daughter, my little daughter's godfather, calls her Chucky.
Oh,
My kid's around with her, yeah.
Pocket nines over here for Garland. We haven't heard him in a while again. Pocket kings for seat 1. That's Eric. And George is going to raise with Jack 10 of diamonds. He's going to make it 35 to go. Now, when Eric raises probably here with pocket kings, I think Garland can escape here in the small blind with nines.
Re-raise, make it 70 total.
And there you go. Raise and a re-raise.
What I want right here.
So let's see what Garland's going to do. He's got pocket nines. $35 raise, re-raise to 75, I believe. Kind of a mini re-raise. There you go. He lays it down. I think that's right. Lay down. Richard's got ace rag. I'm sure he's going to be out of there.
Begrudgingly.
Let's see how George is going to get involved here. Do you want to take Jack 10 of diamonds heads up? out of position. The guy only mini re-raised it, Chili, so you are, you know, you're not necessarily, you don't have to put that much more in here. He's gonna call. But you would think that George is smart enough where if a jack or 10 comes out and Eric really pushes him,
that he's
he
not
can get
looking.
away from it.
Yeah.
So here we go to the flop. Wow, Eric
Wow.
flops a full house. Kings full of sixes. King 6-6 here.
That's an easy flop to get away from with George. I mean, he didn't even hit one diamond. He has no backdoor diamond option.
George checks and Eric's going to bet. And a lot of people say, why would you bet here? Why would you bet? Well, because you're expected to bet. I think that's one of the main reasons. I just always think it's so fishy when you check there. $80 bet here.
If he had raised or re-raised with like ace queen, he would have bet there.
Yeah.
He would have bet with nothing, so he might as well bet with something.
Yeah.
So.
George is not going to get cagey with it. They much the hand. It's going to be the last hand of the night. Again, thanks to you all for joining us. You can catch Live at the Bike every Monday through Friday from 6 to 9 Pacific time. Join us tomorrow night for 5100 No Limit Hold'em with most likely Phil Locke. You can also play David Tuckman tomorrow at 5 o'clock Pacific time before we come on. Go to thebike.com. Play for free site. Check it out. Get yourself a promotional buck by winning a sit-and-go or a multi-table tournament. And play against him. We've got a $200 bounty on his head. It is a multi-table tournament and a $100 prize pool for the people that, come in on the final table. You can actually look at the Bikes Play for Free site's website to look at the structure of the tournament and the prize pool. But there's a $200 bounty on David Tuckman's head because it was held over from last week, but no one was able to knock him out with play money. Are you kidding me? All you guys out there in internet land?
Raise, make it 20 total. I was going to do that. You were going to do that?
Richard's going to raise here to 20.
Re-raise, make it 60.
And the other Richard's going to come back over the top to 60 with pocket 10s.
I definitely call 20.
So the new Richard in seat 3 made it 20, and the old Richard re-raised to 60 with pocket 10s.
And that should be it.
Really should be. But it's not going to be.
Wow.
Makes it more
That's twice in one night.
A lot of times people's egos get in the way there. Somebody coming over the top. Ace 7-4 here. One overcard to the 10s. 2 at Richard plays it.
See how that's a good one.
75. Betting 75.
Old Richard's going to bet 75 here. Let's see what the newbie's going to do. He's going to get rid of it.
He's done.
Not quite, Dave.
Come on, show it. No, you're amazing. I can't show it. I'm starting to get my rush.
Well, that's going to do it for us tonight, folks. Thank you again for joining us. And please join us tomorrow for a very, very exciting night at Live at the Bike. So for everyone here in the booth, and for Shirley Rosario, I'm Bart Hansen. Good night, everybody, from Live at the Bike.
It's here. It's big. And it's closer than you think. It's not a tournament. It's what you don't see on TV. The cash is real. The stakes are high. They bet big. They win big. They lose big. High stakes live action poker. Live at the Bike. Watch it live on the web or play it if you dare at the Bicycle Casino right here in Los Angeles.